the most you can do, I remember there was a commentary on this, is claim damages from the mother.
Yeah.
You can claim that.
Something.
But again, the child is still alive, still needs to be fed and clothed and all of that.
Listen to this. It's not my child.
I agree, we're maintaining.
Papa yo guy, I
Papa
asked.
ga ge-
Where's the father?
I go kgone ho tlhokomela ngwana, David.
Guy, you lied to me.
Hey,
You realized.
le wena o bare.
I can't believe that's what it comes to.
I'm
Gore
joking.
no sa bone.
No sa
Gore
bone.
ngwana wa
No sa bone
tshwanela.
ngwana wa-
Child doesn't look like you.
You need to, as the 24-year-old, say that these are my expenses currently
As a 24-year-old.
as a 24-year-old.
You can't have beer on that list.
You can't have big on that list,
You
because we're going to ask you, what activities do you want to do
With this man.
with this money? Where did you go? But again, standard of living, David.
Ay, ay, ay.
You see, live like a standard.
King David Studio podcast.
But we were married not in community of property. And you became a success as my husband. The question is, I provided an environment that allowed you to succeed.
Mm.
Warm household, supportive wife. I'm the lady you complain to about all these things. Sometimes I gave you advice because that's what happens in relationships. And I raised your kids. You didn't have to worry about the children. And you became a huge success. And you died. And I get nothing.
Because of that contract. And it's always, you know, the nice thing about South African law is always that there's that, you know, when we say as lawyers, it depends.
Okay.
It really
It really
depends.
depends. Yeah.
It really, really depends, because it depends on the circumstances of each case.
Okay.
We don't have that blanket approach. We've got the laws there
Yeah.
to say
That guide.
what
Yeah.
must happen.
Okay.
But in certain circumstances, if you can prove that you are the effective cause, and especially for that woman. So you said 1986.
It's a long time.
It's been a long time.
30 years.
So that in its own, the duration of the marriage is very long.
Yes.
Wabo? So that already tells you that for the duration of the marriage, this husband did not have to worry about X, Y, and Z
For so long.
because there was a wife already there. She was taking care of the household. She built him a home.
Mhm.
Now, when the divorce happens and there is a contract in place, I'm not sure about what happens specifically in that case, but she definitely has a claim for maintenance, and not just even maintenance, but some assets of the estate, despite the contract
The
being
contract
in place.
saying you get nothing.
Saying you get nothing. So usually, and I know Mahua, white people, they get married out of community property without even an accrual, you know? But the reality is that when you came into the marriage, you poured everything into the marriage. Like you'd say, you came in, you were a housewife. So you never, for all intents and purposes, from the time that you were a wife, you then became a caregiver to him, to the children, to the household, and everything. And everything flowed from that. So now you, as a husband, when the divorce comes, you can't say that she can't get a claim to that property, because the assets that you have built have been on the backbone of this woman.
Wow.
You know? So the law always depends. It always depends. And in that instance, she can prove maintenance, and it's spousal maintenance. So I'd like to think, because there's no law that says that the contract, we break the contract that we entered into. But in terms of that spousal maintenance, that alimony, she has a right to even indefinite spousal maintenance after the fact. Why? Because the duration of the marriage is long. Her existing and future earning capacity is non-existent.
Because she spent half her life looking after you.
Exactly. So also depending on even her age at the time of the divorce, those are the circumstances that we look at. Because if, let's say for instance, she's now 55.
Oh, she's 65.
She's
over.
65.
She's a retired age, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So where is she going to start? How is she going to start a career? So that she can be self-supporting. You understand? So all of those things, it's maintenance, because the nature of maintenance is, what are the needs for or from a person that you are dependent on. So that person must satisfy the needs according to their capabilities.
Okay.
Now, in that instance, again, this husband has been taking care of this woman for the many years of their marriage.
Yes.
Now, they get divorced. She's 65. What are the prospects of her getting a job? What are her prospects of future
Or having
earning
a
capacity?
normal life.
Or even having a normal life after that?
Yeah.
They're almost, she's 65. It's almost, she's almost at the end of her life.
Essentially.
So essentially, then the court can make that determination to basically say, for the rest of your life, you are entitled to spousal maintenance. And that spousal maintenance will be how much? It's determined by the level that you were used to during the marriage. Because why? You built that lifestyle for you, for your children.
I want to get into more detail. Just for the record.
Oh, okay.
And you made us start because you got so formal in your answer. We managed to get a hold of a lawyer to help us divorce smartly. Basically, I got Tshepho Mojapelo here. She's here really just to help us divorce like wise people. And because there's a lot of mistakes that are made probably in marriage or before marriage in the contracts we sign, and they end up being a messy divorce. Here, it's really about the do's and the don'ts, but largely the mistakes that are made by a lot of us when we marry and divorce. Because I've had a conversation about some of the most common reasons why people divorce. And it ended up being a conversation a lot about love. And this one, I want it to be administrative. I want the paperwork. And that's why you're here. I hope you're well, man.
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh.
I am very well. I'm not married, that's why I'm well.
May I ask if you're the right person for these questions since you're not married?
I'm the right person
Yeah.
only because I gotta get some law.
Okay.
So I know the law, I know what it entails, and I've helped countless of
divorce
cases get through, some contested, some uncontested, some really just paperwork, like when you just sign a settlement agreement.
Peaceful.
And I can count those probably on one hand, the peaceful ones.
Yeah.
But mostly, very much contested.
It happens.
So I think I'll be able to help you because I've got the necessary experience from the people that I actually sat down and we spoke about this.
You say a handful of cases that are peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
The messy issues is money, I imagine, is who gets what.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
We already had this heated discussion already about a case, a woman who's been married and they live together well. But she was housewife as the agreement of the family. Or you look after the kids. Let me go work as a man in that regard. Married in the 80s, he goes away to work and builds an extremely successful business. Their lives together with the kids improves. They move from living in Roodepoort to Bryanston. And they live to having 3 houses in the same street. You get the lifestyle. They have holiday homes and they can choose which car to drive today. That kind of life. But the wife is looking after the kids, not working. She is not bringing any income, even a cent. I know your first question will be, what was the contract? The contract was, you're not married in community of property. With zero, nothing, you get nothing. Your life is your life, my life is your life. We brought here by love, but not money. And I am, as the husband, I became so wealthy. But because we are married, we are wealthy because it's ours together. We divorced, whatever reason. I found a 20-year-old and I'm happy and I'm excited. And I leave you, your kids are old now. Some of them work in the business. I'm describing a complete picture here. But everything is, and now I say to you, we cry over it and move on. Now there's paperwork to deal with. What is your immediate observation of this case?
Support. Please support me.
Oh boy.
Please support me.
But
We've built a life together.
yes.
I get you were working.
Uh,
I'm working at home.
okay. Yes.
I take care of the household,
Uh,
the children. Ibile ba godile. They're old now,
mm,
you know? So if you now decide that you are done with me,
mm.
I've built my life. I can't take what I've built
Because it's not physical.
because it's not physical.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that please support me because all my life I've been dependent on you.
Yeah.
And as a result, if I leave this nest that we have created, I'm out in the cold on my own.
And by this time, I don't care.
This time we don't care.
Yeah.
But now that duty of maintenance is on my head
Uh-huh.
because for all our married life, I was maintained by you.
Yes.
I was fed. I was clothed.
Mm,
I went on vacation. I went shopping.
mm.
I drove cars. All of these things were being provided by who?
Yeah.
By you.
Uh-huh.
It's not even a luxury because that's the standard that we created as a family.
It may seem like a luxury to those that are observing it.
Yes.
But here,
we've
created it
we've
as
created
normal.
it. It's a normal life. So when I leave, please support me. Same standard,
Mm.
same everything. I shouldn't be in a worse off position because what I contributed to that marriage, to that estate, was not tangible in the form of money, was not fiscal.
Yeah. You can't see it.
You
can't
can't
touch
see
You
it.
can't.
But Ntloki Ewe, the house is furnished.
Mm.
The kids are fed. They are clothed.
They're older.
They went
They're
to
learned.
school.
They
You
are
see,
smart.
you can see the result of me being at home, but it wasn't a physical or a tangible fiscal.
Yeah. But I then say what is the maintenance? Is it because I don't imagine you being able to answer this because judges decide on this on the value. Are we able to have an estimate of the value? And because you just said you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can see the results of it, theoretically, but it's not something that you can point at like a car or a house. I can say, here's the bond. This is what I've been paying for the past year. You can say that. Then how do we then get a sense of how much it could be?
So, like I've said, we've mentioned the house. So what type of house do we live in?
It's 1,000 square meter house.
What type of cars are we driving?
Yes.
What type of activities are we engaging in as a family? Are we going on holiday? All of those things. So, for all intents and purposes, during our marriage, that was the lifestyle that we created.
Yeah.
Now, when I leave and when you decide to divorce me, the maintenance part comes to here I am. I'm a 50, 60-year-old woman. I am used to being maintained by my husband, one. And what does my husband do to maintain me? He buys me cars. He gives me petrol, petrol card. He gives me I've got my own card where I do my shopping for my grocery, for my clothes, wherever.
For the kids.
Yeah. I also have allowance for vacations, I do all of those things and everything is being maintained by my husband.
Yeah.
Now that creates a standard. So when I leave, that standard must be maintained.
Yo.
Why I'm saying it's a must is because once you can show the court that there is a duty by myself to be maintained by my husband, you then have to prove why you say so. You don't just say, I have to be maintained. You now have to prove why you say so. Now, those factors come into play. How long have you been married? We've been married for 30
years,
40 years. And in those 30, 40 years, I've never worked. So that automatically goes into my earning capacity. Because if you take me at a 65, as a 65-year-old or 60-year-old woman, where am I going to find work? Where am I going to start to get work? Because all the work that I know is taking care of the family. That's all the work and that's all the work that I've actually done.
Yeah.
So I'm 60. I'm not ready for the work world. So it means then that my earning capacity it's non-existent.
Okay.
You know?
Got you.
So because it's non-existent, how am I going to live after this divorce? That's why I then have that claim for maintenance.
So when you claim for maintenance, you're likely to have a number on the table to say, this is what I want a month. And I imagine you would have determined it as a woman. In this example, you would have determined it and said, this comes to 100,000 rands a month. And does it matter whether the husband can afford it or not?
It definitely matters, because the nature of maintenance, and just to break it down in legal terms, is that there's a duty to support an individual, and according to the reasonable needs of that person, and also subject to the affordability
of
the person that has the duty to maintain. Now, if I've listed all of these, so now during our marriage, we used to go on vacation 3 times overseas in the year. We'd go every quarter to just short lefty around the country.
Okay.
I'd get a car maybe every 2 years, a new car, brand new car every 2 years. And we you list all of those things. Now, the nice thing about the maintenance is that you then get to say, this is how much that is needed. You need to work it out per month.
Okay.
Now, how you work it out per month is you look at the year and then you divide it by 12.
True.
Ne? So if you look at the year and you say that roughly these are the expenses, and then if we divide it by 12, this is roughly the amount that we need.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm not working, I've never worked, I cannot even contribute towards this maintenance.
Yeah.
Now, if the husband is saying that they cannot afford, now we have to go into where can we lessen that which is your need, so that he can afford. So perhaps now we take away the need for the luxury cars and we'll get you a standard car.
Okay.
That'll chop it down a bit. Okay? The house. Now you'll be alone. You don't need a big house. So let's maybe settle for a 2-bedroom house.
As a wife, in this context, you must agree to all of that stuff. And if it is possible that you won't.
It's possible that you won't.
Yeah.
But again, because these usually go on either in the maintenance court.
Yeah.
Or in the high court. So in the high court, I like it better in the high court. Why? Because there's a lot more discretion.
Okay.
We call it discretion, where judges can basically decide based on the merits of the case, what would be fair in that instance. Now, in the magistrate court, they are not so lenient. They have to do things according to the Magistrate Court Act, the prescribed law.
That's what I was about to say.
In the magistrate court. So they're not so flexible.
What is, because different cases have different merits, but what would be prescribed then?
In the magistrate court.
Yeah.
So in the magistrate court, there's literally, so you get a form that you have to fill in. That form, it details everything. So if you are looking for maintenance for yourself or for your children, there would be blocks there.
Okay.
So it says self and children.
Okay.
Né? It will take you through your assets. So now the house. There's a house that you have. You need electricity. It's the bond. Well, let's start even with the bond in the house.
Yeah.
So there'll be a column for the bond, how much you're paying for the bond, how much are you paying for electricity, for water, for insurance on the house, how much are you paying for insurance now on your cars, if you've got a car, how much are you paying for your DSTV, for your funeral policies, for your investments. So it goes into a lot of detail.
Clothing,
minute clothing, all of those.
Yes.
So now we've dealt with the cars. Now clothing. It's also now summer and winter clothing, because now you need to buy clothes, you know.
Do I need winter clothes? Do you get winter clothes in winter?
We do.
Really? Every year?
Well, not
You
every
see,
year.
I would ask that question. But
Well, not every year. So
do
with
you
the summer,
understand the
I understand you.
argument?
So with the summer and winter clothing,
Yeah.
it's usually a once off.
Okay.
So usually when we're dealing with kids, with children, minor children in the maintenance court, you'd have a provision for winter and summer clothing, and those provisions would be once off.
What happens years after?
No,
'Cause
no.
these kids are
Once
still-
off every year.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay.
So with children, then it's usually summer and winter clothing, casual clothing, and also uniform. Because now you know the uniform
summer and
changes.
winter's
Summer
uniform.
and winter uniform. You
Yeah.
know, so all of those. It's in a great detail, that maintenance form. The water that you're consuming, the activities that you do. So if you go out, maybe once or twice a week to a restaurant or whatever, those are part of the activities that you have, because that's the lifestyle you're used to. So all of those now, they form part of that maintenance form that you fill in to say how much were you spending roughly per month on X, Y, and Z. So you detail all of those things.
That's magistrate court.
That's magistrate court.
Yeah.
Now, you still do the same exercise in the high court. It's just that now it's not on the prescribed form,
Okay.
you know, as it is in the magistrate court. So in the high court, it's basically what are you proving? So even in the magistrate court, you will have to produce now slips. So whatever it is that you are purchasing, whatever it is, the statements of the bond, the statements for water, electricity, all of those, they now become documentary evidence to say, I am proving the claim because here are my slips to show that grocery,
Give
roughly
or take 5,000
rand.
Yes.
Water, give or take this, you've got those documentary proof. Now, the person that says they can't afford, they now need to come
Counter
that.
Yeah.
How do you counter that? You say now that these are my expenses and this is my income. And based on that, I only have 4,000 rand left.
Yeah.
Now,
and she wants
30,000.
30,000. Yeah.
So what does Tshepho do? I go through the statements that you give me because now you have to give me your statements.
Yes.
I go through your statements and I say, David,
Go na le-
30,000 we transfer mang. Who does it belong to? What was it
Yes.
used for? We are looking for a pattern as well.
Yes.
So this ATM withdrawal, even if there's no pattern, you must be able to
Account for every cent.
that you're
Yes.
spending. Because
Yes.
if you are pleading poverty,
You must prove poverty.
you must prove poverty. So
Yeah.
there's a 30,000 rand going out here. There's a 10,000 rand or 5,000 rand being withdrawn at the ATM. There are various e-wallets being sent. E-wallet. What are these for?
To my other account.
So this one is empty. Now,
Yeah.
we also now even subpoena all of those other accounts.
Jojo.
Because you've got, it's a financial disclosure. We call it a financial disclosure. So you have that duty to disclose your finances, even though most people don't want to do it because you're trying to plead poverty.
And the law insists and the law forces them
It
to.
forces you to.
Yeah.
In any divorce, we have what we call a financial disclosure form. And you actually attest to it under oath.
Sure.
So before you even institute the divorce, so you would go through your finances, you would make a list of all your accounts, your investments, your shares, and all of that. You include it in there. Then you sign it under oath to say that I declare that this is the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And once you sign that, you now put it in the record. If we find that you did not disclose everything, we can come back and say, we found another account that was not disclosed and
it
we've
has
got a
more
share
money
and
than
it got
this
more
one.
money than this one.
Yo.
So please disclose this one as well, or there is money sufficient for my maintenance.
So you say if we, surely I will try my best to hide it. How would you find out? Do you engage in an investigative process to prove that what he said is correct?
Well, you can. Usually, the nice thing about love is that when it's lovely, it's very lovely.
Oh, we tell everything.
We tell everything. There are accounts, there's this, you've got access even to some of the accounts about, and you can't run away from it. I mean, well, now maybe because not many statements are being sent to your home
anymore.
But in the past, there would be an account statement coming in from this bank, from this, these shares, their shares, dividends that have been declared and all of that. You'd find that out easily. So now, if you are not a clever wife or a clever husband
for that matter.
Yeah. And you are not aware of all of these things, and you are married in community of property, and when the divorce comes, you become shocked and you are besides yourself, like, how can this happen to me? You know, you need to be aware of all of those things, because at the end of the day, you're also in a marriage relationship. So whatever you do affects me, whatever I do affects you.
So the assumption is there's continuous disclosure of what I do.
The assumption is that, but sometimes not so much. I've heard many male clients tend to say that, hey, this is an account that the wife doesn't know about. So
is it a male thing? I always thought it was a female thing, where the lady is busy building a house at their parents' house, and you're not even aware that there's an activity happening.
I find it with most of the males. With the female clients, not so much. Not so much, actually. But most of the males are like, no, that account can't even come out, because now you'll even see there's shiga going on there, because there's payments done to other people that
that's it's like a phone that the wife doesn't know about.
Yes,
it's
like a burn phone.
Yeah. Let's take the same scenario and do slight adjustments to it.
Okay.
How often is it that you find women in the story, but in the reverse, where it's the husband who's been the house husband, so to speak, and the wife, because times have changed so much. There's an interesting statistics about black women CEOs in Africa being far more successful than their predecessors in the same companies. It lists about 10 or 20 of them. So essentially saying times have changed so much. You have so many female CEOs and leaders of companies, and so the narrative of a husband who goes out to make money while the wife stays home, no, it's a thing of the past in a lot of ways. So how often in your world do you see this new scenario that I've just painted?
Oh, I've had in the past year about 3 or 4 cases where the husband is now claiming pensions, assets, and all of that because he was not working. So he's got now an extended amount of time where he was working, but now he's not working.
Yeah.
And as a result, he then had to stay home. Now, it's coming up more often than not. But I think in those instances, the women are fighting. And it was one of those contested ones.
Yeah.
The women were fighting because the husband was not really being a house husband.
He was just unemployed.
So there was still the helper at the home. There was still the gardener,
yes,
all of those things,
And you find if they're privileged enough, there's a guy who comes every Sunday to wash the cars. There's all of those.
You see
resources.
all of those.
A driver for the kids.
While the husband is there, literally
Unemployed.
just unemployed, but not doing anything.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because we had this conversation with my driver the other day. They're like, what has changed? So I tell them, I'm like, my dad, for most of my life, he was retrenched when I was very young. So I'm the youngest in the family.
Okay.
But for all of my life, I never saw my dad not having money because he was such a present dad. Like, he would take me to school, he would fetch me from netball, Stateford's debate, and all of those things.
He was busy.
He was very busy, but it never registered in my mind that Papa got hana chelete. I would even ask him for money and then he'd give me, So it's only now later, obviously, when you speak to your mom and then she explains, she's like, no, it was because, that was how it worked.
I helped him. So he maintains his stature as a man.
But it even wasn't even the money. That's the thing I'm getting to. It was never about the money because he was there. He played his role as the dad in the family. Yeah. So it was never the dad with money, the resources and whatever, but he was the dad in the family, very scared, like, hey, 60 can't be outside,
Daima,
all of, so it's very weird now when I see this, and even with my clients, I always tell them, like, it's so surprising for me how it almost like men can't be men.
Using your dad's reference.
Yes, like, because they don't have money. It doesn't make sense, but...
You're highlighting an important thing. Essentially, you're saying men have become their measure of their manhood
Mm-hmm.
in this case is only if they can provide.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying it's not that. It's everything else. On top of that, if anything.
On top of that, if
Yes,
anything,
it's
yes.
everything else
Yes.
that a husband, a father, a man of the house.
Your role as a father, as a husband,
Yes.
what is it? And if you
Yeah.
play that role, in the family dynamics, there's not even that shift. Like there's not that gap.
Ya re hwa shota.
Like your wash order. Because things are taken care of.
Going back to our case,
Mhm.
the husband, Aspan,
Mm.
as you said,
Mhm.
he's doing nothing,
Mhm.
as you've painted. We're going to paint another picture where he's doing something, but for now he's doing nothing.
Yes.
He's just hanging around. The wife, almost for, I don't know, 10,000 rand, so you can have something during the month. It's a lot of money though, but anyway, it's fine. I chose a lot of money. And what happens then during divorce? He has every right to do exactly what the reverse happens.
Spousal maintenance, that's why it's not called
It's
female maintenance.
It's spousal
Woman,
maintenance.
it's spousal maintenance. So either of the spouse has that right to approach the court and say, I need to be maintained or supported by this person because of X and Y reasons.
Mhm.
We've been
Paint
married
the
for
picture.
long.
Yeah.
I haven't been employed. I've been taking care of the family.
Wait.
This one hasn't been taking care of the family.
Let's talk about the guy who couldn't do
Okay,
much.
so the guy that wasn't doing much, it really will be up to the court to decide. I don't want to lie. Ne?
Yeah.
Why I say this is because I had a very, very similar case like this where the guy did nothing. He squandered his money, so he decided that he's going to leave work and then take his pensions
and try open a business.
Oh boy.
That's
didn't
not
work.
squandering though. But
No. Let me tell you why he squandered. Because then he took the monies, didn't pursue the business, went to squander the money with people outside, came back broke. So now wife says that
he's an episode of I Blew It. But
yeah, that sort of I
Yeah.
blew it.
Sure.
Comes back into the home and wife now needs to take care of everything. So she takes care of everything. They go into debt, the whole full circle. They go into debt, they recover. She starts working and then she's like, I can't do this anymore. We need to get divorced. Husband says that, okay, but I still want half of everything. And he's claiming now even the maintenance on that part to say that I need to be maintained. He actually also wanted to take the children, thinking that his right to maintenance would only come if he has the children. So and then he
So he
got
didn't know it.
lawyers.
He got it wrong.
He got it wrong. But then he
Yeah.
got lawyers that said, no, you can actually claim maintenance for yourself.
Alone.
And he did exactly that.
Yeah.
We never saw the light of day in court. It fizzled because there was a house and all of that.
Yeah.
But even in those circumstances, it really will be up to the court to decide what would be a fair dissolution of this marriage. I always say that, in some instances, you can go for what we call a forfeiture of patrimonial benefits.
Okay.
Where you are basically saying that this person did not contribute to this marriage or should not enjoy the benefits of a marriage in community or property.
Even if the marriage was in community or property.
Even if the marriage is in community or property.
Okay.
And then you list the reasons. Again, the duration of the marriage, the circumstances that led to that breakdown, the financial, all of those things.
What kind of circumstances would be Ujoti?
Yeah, well, we look at that because
Really?
it is a factor,
Yes.
but it's not a determining factor.
Okay.
But there is a case actually, this is 2022 judgment, where a husband a wife rather, was given the forfeiture claim because this husband was away for a long time.
Okay.
I think it was 17 years. And then he wants to come back and say that he wants half of everything, but he's been gone for that amount of time. So part of the reasons, even in that judgment, was that outside of the 17 years that he's been away, we also have a situation where even in the years that he was in the marriage,
I need to call.
Askis,
Our guy who doesn't work, Does he have rights here?
Well, he's being maintained. He's being clothed and fed
For the past 3 years,
for the past 3 years. Unemployed by the wife.
Circumstantially. Not because it was a family decision.
Mhm.
Well, in this case, he quit his job on his own.
Yeah. But he was still being maintained. So that duty to maintain is on him. But now we look at his circumstances. How old is he?
Okay.
Does he have prospects of
Finding
earning
a job.
capacity?
Yes.
And in those circumstances, then the courts usually order a spousal maintenance for a specified time. So they'd say that, okay, we understand that, yes, maybe you are 45 years old
Mm-hmm.
and you have been maintained by your wife for the past year or for the past 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
even though you weren't contributing anything to the marriage. But when you claim spousal maintenance, we are only going to limit it to what? To 6 months. So we'll grant you a spousal maintenance for your needs, but we'll only grant it for 6 months. And even then, the needs are going to be, okay, what do you now need as a man?
Because you can do this yourself.
Because you can do this yourself.
And this is not exclusive to men.
It's not exclusive to men.
Okay.
Spousal maintenance again. So if the woman is in a capacity or she's able to work and her earning capacity can improve.
Mm-hmm.
Because we look at the earning capacity now at the date of divorce or the institution of the divorce summons,
Okay.
and also your future earning capacity.
Mm.
All of those things, like I said now, how long have you been married and unemployed? How old are you? Are you able to get other employment? All of those circumstances weighed against each other, then they can decide how much of how long that spousal maintenance must be for, and also your needs based on the affordability of the other spouse, how much you can actually get from your other spouse as spousal maintenance.
You divorce getting spousal maintenance, then you get married.
Mm-hmm.
Does it end?
It definitely ends.
Immediately.
So it's we say immediately, but once you learn, because I'm not going to tell you
that I got
that
married.
I got married.
You're so
and
mean.
Yeah, no, I'm not
That's
going to tell you.
terrible.
So
I'll
thank you.
find out thanks to social media. I'll know you got married.
You will know, and then you must then go to court
and say
that the circumstances have changed. This person is no longer dependent on me. Therefore, that need or that duty to maintain her falls away as a result of another man now that needs to support her. So you vary. It's that variation of that order.
Let's talk about unemployment versus family decision to look after the kids. We've touched on it, but it worries me slightly because unemployment has become a common practice, common reality of South Africans. And you're lucky to have one still working. We carry on. You're wapanda, but you're unemployed. And we, as you put it, we divorce. The circumstances, and the reason I highlight is because the circumstances of why you depend on me are different from when we both decided stay home and look after the kids. You understand? Stay home and look after the kids. It's a mutual decision. I got fired. I lost my job. I have the capability to work, but I just know work opportunities. And now I'm stuck here. This lady has to buy me underwear, feed me, or this man for that matter. Now we're divorcing for whatever reason. I wonder and I worry that the reason for why I'm depending on you has to be just as important as the fact that I depend on you. Like the reason for it. Is that considered? Or why were you not? Why? Let me try to explain it. I get it. I now depend on you. And once we divorce,
you've lost your job.
I lost my job.
Okay.
I depend on you.
Yes.
Once we divorce, you have to maintain my lifestyle. But the reason why I depended on you was because I lost my job, not because we made a decision. Why is it that the court doesn't say, well, sorry, You go your way, you go your way. Because the reason why you were depending on this person was not a mutual family decision. It was because of circumstances that everybody's facing in the country. I wonder if I'm clear now.
I hear you. I'm just not understanding. Maybe perhaps you think there is a differentiation when the
I
courts
think there
look at
should
it.
be.
Why so? Because the duty of support is as a result of the need of
Mhm.
support or maintenance
Yes.
by one person.
Yeah. And the
So
other has to.
the other has that duty then because of whatever relationship, brother, sister, mother, all of those things.
Mhm.
Now, when you are a spouse, and I'm introducing this on purpose, ne? Because if now you are unemployed
Mm.
and
As
you
a
claim
husband.
as a husband
Yeah.
and you are claiming maintenance, spousal maintenance post the divorce, you are in a position where are your mother, where's your mother, where's your father, where your siblings,
Where's
where's your family
family structure
to
to
take
help
care
you?
of
Yes.
to take care of you. Now, all of those things are all factors that even the wife can put to the court to say that this person,
Oshab.
Oshabu,
Thank you.
he's going to leave our home, he's going to go into his parents' home. At his parents' home, there is X, Y, and Z living there. The mother or the father, they're still working or they're earning pensions or whatever circumstances. So those are all circumstances that you would need to bring to the court for them to make that fair determination. Because again, you might not be able to run away from the actual duty to support, but it might be now for a shorter period.
And I'm glad you said that because
Yeah.
that's exactly where my issue was. That why is it that we are no longer together, but why am I looking after you? You can look after yourself. That is how simple my logic is about it. Is we came together. You had your 50 rand, I had my 50 rand. We built a home together. Well, let's ignore what contract we wrote, which is important, I realize. And we came together. And you lost your 50 rand because you lost your job. I continued with my 50 rands every month. Then we got to a point where, and now my 50 rand was helping us now. It made our situation tricky, but we continued. We get to a point where you or me is saying, I'm tired of this, I don't want this anymore. We go our separate ways. I'm saying, but not, you are a man, you can look after yourself. Or you're a woman, you can look after yourself. Why do I have to look after you if I'm done with this thing?
It's a clean, well, our courts have that. It's called a clean break principle.
Yeah.
Where after the divorce, it must be a clean break between both parties. But again, it depends. On the maintenance issue. Like we said now.
Someone will say, whoa.
Someone will say, no, I understand that you want a clean break, but can I please get spousal maintenance?
Man.
I want to get divorced. We want a clean break principle, but I need X, Y, and Z. You know that is a reality. So it always depends. It really always depends on the circumstances.
So there's nothing like. I guess it's between two people who speak, and one says, "Don't worry, I'm fine.
Yeah,
you can go."
Yeah,
and sharp.
Yeah,
you can go.
That's definitely also even that spousal maintenance. If you don't claim it in your papers, you don't get it. It's not an automatic
it's not
right.
automatic.
No.
So someone
It's
must say,
not.
someone must raise
You
their hand.
must in your papers
And
say that
I want
maintenance of this amount. Before the matter goes to trial, then you would have already seen that, and then now you need to do what?
To counter. Yes.
Give us whatever. Give us the supporting documents for your maintenance needs. Why is it that you need maintenance need? It's not automatic. Maybe that's where we should have. It's not automatic. You have to ask for it.
And it's not something that the court activates.
No,
you
activate it. So if you don't ask for it, you don't get it.
You don't get it.
It's the same with the forfeiture.
With electricity in South Africa. I'm joking. I'm joking. I wanted to see you.
It would have been nice if we can ask for electricity and we get it, but hey,
anyway,
that's not our life.
Carry on.
But it's the same with the forfeiture clause.
Yeah.
When you are getting divorced, if you as the husband, you feel that your wife should not get a share in the property, you have to state it in your papers.
You activate it.
You activate it. It's not automatic. Not at all.
Okay, in that context, what is automatic? If I say nothing,
Automatic is
and let's say
is
I
the
own the
children.
property. Okay. Carry on.
Automatically, because minor children are seen as dependent children. So even if you've got a major child, the minors, there'll be no court that will order any divorce decree if there are no arrangements as agreed upon between the parties. If they agree, if they don't agree, if there are no arrangements made in the divorce order for the maintenance of the kids, you will not get your order. Some of them say that, okay, let's defer this issue to the maintenance court. That is sufficient
Okay.
because the court wants to see what steps you are taking as as a couple that has minor children, to ensure that the maintenance needs of these children that you have are not affected by the actual divorce. Because whether or not you are going to go on with your life, the maintenance needs of the children still persist. So they need food now, they'll need it tomorrow and in the future.
You say it's automatic.
Yeah.
Which court handles it?
In the high court,
Yeah.
you deal with it in the high court. But
Okay.
again, like I said, you can have a situation where the parties in a settlement agreement agree between themselves that these are the maintenance arrangements that we
Are happy with?
are happy with
Yes.
with regards to the children. But even then, it must still be endorsed by a family advocate. Why? Because children, they're not able to speak for themselves. So there must be a third party that enters into the divorce fray on behalf of
Representing the kids.
representing them specifically, and that is the family advocate. So whatever settlement that you have must go still first to the family advocate for an endorsement. And the family advocate must say that, no, we are happy with what you guys are proposing must happen to the children after the divorce. They give you a stamp of approval and then you can go to court. If there is no sort of agreement between the parties, it either goes to trial at a court or they then defer it. I know with some of the cases, and I really, sometimes I strongly advise against it, because when the divorce is final, it gets finalized, you know?
Yeah.
It's like everyone gets their monies and whatever.
And
And
then the kids.
But then the kids.
That's
you
why.
know?
That's why I was about to ask you that a divorce settlement process can take long.
It can.
And what is happening to the children?
Exactly.
If it's getting deferred, because we can argue until the cows come home.
Yes.
What is happening with the children in that time?
In that time, we do what we call a Rule 43. It's an interim maintenance for your kids. So you institute, you know, some people, and it's so sad. I see it with most men. Most males, who are the defendants
Okay, in a divorce.
in a divorce.
Yeah.
So the wife is the client, is my client, and she comes to me to say that I've instituted the divorce, but since I've done that, the father is no longer sending money. He's no longer supporting us. He's no
and
longer.
a week ago, he bought groceries.
He bought groceries.
Since that moment.
But since that moment, we needed money to pay for the school fees, or we needed money to pay for transport or whatever.
He stopped.
And he stopped because of that. So you immediately launch those Rule 43 proceedings.
Which mean?
It means it's an interim order where you get maintenance pending the litigation process finalizing.
Okay.
So that's how you take care of the children pending that. I don't know. Some people don't know. I don't know if they don't know, if they're not advised. But you definitely need a maintenance order the minute you see that this person is no longer acting the way that they are, or the way that they were rather. So you definitely need that maintenance order in the interim, because with that order, you go to their work, you go anywhere, and you're able to claim, you know, the maintenance needs of the children pending the finalization of this divorce.
Wow. The maintenance needs of the kids is Rule 43 is it ignores circumstances. As in
So?
you have more money, you pay 300 rands instead of 500 rands. Essentially, I'm asking if it prescribes what you should be doing, Rule 43, as the divorcing partners. Does it prescribe the how much, or it simply says you have to look after the kids?
It says you have to look after the kids. It says that what are the needs. So it still follows the same principles of maintenance. What are the needs of the children?
Got you.
What are the what are you able
To do.
to do? You still get called. It's still that you are still given that opportunity to say,
I can't.
Got
you.
or you can.
Got you.
Otherwise, that order is granted, and immediately that maintenance becomes due and payable by the person against who the order is granted.
So Rule 43 is stipulates just as much as the actual.
You have
it stipulates.
You have to.
Yeah.
Any maintenance needs of a child. So South African law, the basis, the best interest of the child are paramount in any matter where any minor child is involved. So when you get to a court and there are divorce proceedings, this is why even the Rule 43 application can come even outside of the divorce. So it's an application that you are making to the court, separate from the divorce action. Why? Because there are minor children involved. So you're saying, because they are of paramount importance in all matters where they are involved, can we please get this interim maintenance pending that divorce action finalizing?
Who activates the divorce? The 43, Rule 43 in this. Somebody has to say,
yes,
there's kids here.
Yes.
What if we are both irresponsible?
You're both responsible, yes, but again, the maintenance requirements is always what are the needs and what can you afford?
No. What if we are both irresponsible? None of us is saying anything. We're just upset. Gogo. They're living with my mom.
Gogo can still bring that application. But remember now, she's bringing now a maintenance application. A maintenance application. Not necessarily a Rule 43. Rule 43 specific for the divorce.
Got you.
So, Gogo shitile bana. They
must look after the kids.
Please look after the kids. And now she's the primary caregiver, because when they're in her care, it's always bought by someone that has that guardianship
and the financial burden.
And the financial burden of the kids, for whatever reason.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wow. I like Rule 43. But I wish it would apply to others, not only the divorcing couple. Because and I like how, whether you said this on or off this recording, that during the love moment, we're all happy. During the divorce, it's the exact opposite. We hate each other. And we hate each other so much that sometimes it's to the detriment of the kids. I don't care. I don't care whether you see the children. I don't care. Because what's probably breaking us is love and the romance and that can be emotionally very toxic. And we don't care about the children. The children now live with. So that's why I wish Rule 43 would apply to those that are now left with the kids, even if they're not the two separating couple members.
I stand to be corrected, David.
Yeah.
Because the nature of it is a maintenance pending the litigation. So I personally haven't dealt with it where Ugogo brings it.
Yeah.
But I know it's always when either of the parties to the divorce bring it for that purpose, I stand to be corrected, though. I wonder
if it's possible.
If it's possible that Bugogo can use that, because usually for them it's a straightforward maintenance. Because why? They've got right to they've got the children in their care, and the children need to be supported by their parents. So if they're both irresponsible, then it's almost like that guardianship that Ugogo has gives her the entry into saying that, hey, I'm bringing this application on behalf of these children that need maintenance from both their parents.
And, it's something that crossed my mind earlier. When we are divorcing and the kids are major, not minor. You mentioned it as well. And I said, there's an issue of maintaining older kids. These people must go to work.
Yeah, but they're still at school.
Never. He's
Basale sekolong days.
university.
Eh, ba
He's
sekolong.
finished. And he's still living here. He's done his
No.
junior degree. He's
Uh-huh. Oh.
24.
Is
he's
he
still living here.
self-supporting?
No, he lives here. He doesn't support himself.
Mhm.
We are looking after him.
Mhm.
We were happy to do it.
Mm.
But we are tired.
You can't be tired.
Or we are divorcing.
You can't be tired.
You can't be tired of
You can't be
af-
tired of
looking
looking after your kids.
He's
can't
20. He's 24. What do you mean I can't be tired?
Okay, he's 24 now. Has he finished?
Junior
school?
degree. And
Ufeditse
I've
degree.
fully paid.
Yeah, well, you see, then it's still the issue of self-supporting, you know? And even in those cases, I think their biggest problem will be, in the magistrate court specifically, the maintenance officers always ask, are you looking for work? Ne? Because Bana, even the husband. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
So or husband or the wife.
Mm.
If you're not supporting someone, they'll ask you, are you looking for work? Are you actively seeking employment?
I am.
Are you? Show us proof that you're actively seeking employment.
Yes, the email
Here
I
are your
sent
emails yesterday. What have you been doing for the past 6 months?
I've sent 6 emails.
Okay. So we look at all of those things
Okay.
to see if they are trying
Okay.
to get employment.
And they're not getting it.
And they're not getting it. But he's still he's not self-supporting, I mean.
Yes.
So this child, this 24-year-old, ufeditse law degree. Ngwana Modimo, there's no work.
Eish.
Ne? Where is he staying? He's staying at home with the other parent.
Mm-hmm.
The other parent is away. You know? Who's supporting this child? The parent that he lives with.
Yes.
That's still support. So if this 24-year-old is saying that, can I please get support from the parent that's not living with me? Well within his rights.
Okay.
Why? Because why must all this burden be put on this parent that he's living with?
Yeah. It's the same as a minor.
It's the same as a minor. You're not self-supporting.
I guess the only difference is he's older.
The only difference there is that he's the one that needs to make that application.
Yes.
That's the only difference.
In this case.
In this
to
case.
say they need to look after
They
me.
need to look after me. The mom can't say, I'm going to. No. You need to, as the 24-year-old, say that these are my expenses currently.
As a 24-year-old.
As a 24-year-old.
You kind of be on that list.
You kind of be on that list because we're going to ask you, what activities do you want to do?
With this man.
With this money. Where did you go? But again, standard of living, David. You see, live like a standard.
No, but wait
and
a minute.
And let me tell you something, it was so the other day I'm listening to one of my colleagues. He's like, yes, if you as the husband, you've got a pool in your house, then you shouldn't be disputing when there's a claim for swimming lessons.
Yes.
From baby mama. You can't. That's the standard for the child. Yes.
For the child. Sorry.
Yes.
When he said baby mama, I saw this big woman who wants a child, who wants maintenance. It's like, all I have with you is a child. It's not you. It's not your swimming lesson. Sorry, you had to clarify who's swimming lesson.
No, the child's swimming lessons.
The swimming lesson.
Yes.
For the child.
For the child. You've created the standard. And you see, this is where it went. We started when there was a wife. And now we're dealing with a baby mama who's claiming maintenance.
And wants pool.
And wants this child to have swimming lessons. Why? Because when you go visit your father, there's a pool.
Oh, boy.
May we please give him and afford him the same life as that of the father.
Let's go back. I'll come to that because it's a trigger. I'll come to it. We're dealing with a guy. How old do you stop being a child then in the context of the 24-year-old?
Oh, you see, it's until you're self-supporting, you see.
But that's
and self-supporting
open-ended.
It's too open-ended. Again, like I'm saying, the application to the to the maintenance court will always be dependent on what that maintenance officer or the magistrate deems as fair
on the day.
On for your circumstances
Oh, yes,
specifically.
absolutely.
Because if you are 24, you're not actively looking for employment, like uduchi
Blom,
fela,
yes.
how are you going to convince the magistrate that what your needs are and that other parent must contribute to them? Because in as much as, yes, contribute to the boarding, the housing, you're in your mom's
True,
house,
true.
contribute to the electricity and all of that, but that's a fact.
Mm.
Can your father afford? If your father can afford, he does have that duty to maintain you, because now you're a problem of the parent that you're staying with.
So this parent, you basically, the light that you have, somebody has to pay for it.
The food that you
The food that you eat.
the water that is running through the house, you're getting hot water from a geyser,
And you're 24.
and you are 24.
Maybe my issues with it have nothing to do with this conversation. They have largely to do with you need to work hard to get your life together.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where my issues are.
Yeah.
But the law says you have a right to
you've got
be
a
looked
duty
after
to be maintained
as a child.
Even
if you are 35.
Even if I once stayed, when I was staying in Pretoria, I once stayed with an old couple. They were old. Like, they were very, very old, from England. They had a son.
In their 60s, older than...
I'm 60s and 80s.
Yes,
there.
wow, okay.
They had a son that was, I think at the time, he must have been like 40.
Okay.
That they were still supporting.
Yo.
Fully supported by mom and dad.
Yeah.
Left the house, went to get married, was staying in his house, fully supported.
Wait a minute.
He got married, divorced. Obviously, he's a bum.
And came back.
Didn't come back.
Oh,
he stayed in that house.
And
then mom and dad were still supporting him.
And the law says, yeah. Well, the law doesn't stop them. Doesn't stop him
from claiming. It's just that it's going to be, yeah.
A situation like that needs the elders. It needs the elders. Need extended family members to gather around the table and say, get your stuff together.
Also, you also need even a stern magistrate. Because some of them will just say, like, come on, go and work. Some of them
because if you're 40 like that and you have to prove that you can't get work.
You have to prove that you are incapacitated for some reason.
Yes.
Like, there's really nothing that you can do.
Yeah, your hands and your feet can't work.
You really are still a baby because you can't do anything for yourself.
We got distracted because it irritates me, this thing. I want to go back to marriage. I want to go back to marriage and talk about some of the incidences that I know. And you said it, standards are the problem. How do we avoid these problems? Help me. I meet a girl. Nice. Beautiful. I love her. We do this love thing together. I had an extra 1,000 rands than she did. My life had an extra townhouse than she had. I found a selling quarters at the corner of the street. I loved her and I moved in with her in my townhouse. And our life got better and better. And now she doesn't want me anymore. Let me not blame me only. She doesn't want me anymore. But we married. What rights does she have? Because my logic says, leave with what you brought. You brought nothing, you leave with that. I live with my townhouse and we're happy. Mm-hmm. Does she have a right to claim half of my townhouse, or is it based on the contract?
It's based on the marriage contract that you entered into.
Let's talk about that now. Mm-hmm. Which one will give her the right?
The marriage in community property.
Gives her full rights.
Full rights to half of everything. But remember, half
even
of
if
everything.
She brought nothing.
Even if she bought nothing, you don't need to bring anything. I got a little ratan. David.
I like how you blame love. You blame love. Love is the problem.
It's not the problem.
You're in love. That's your problem.
It's the cause and the cure.
Okay. Yeah. There's the result.
It's just how it is. So it was lovely when you guys met. And we wanted to build a life together. Because...
Wait a minute.
You wanted to build a life together. How do you build a life together?
Okay, all right, okay. It's the law.
Okay.
It's the law. Because
It's
we have
not the
options.
law. It's
No, we agreed on
Okay.
a community of property.
okay.
We said we're
agreed.
doing this
Yes.
together.
Yes.
So the law says half.
Yes.
Okay. Which one doesn't give her anything?
If you're married out of community property without the accrual.
Okay.
Mhm.
You leave with what you brought.
Mhm.
Do you have a right to debate it?
Yes, you can. It depends.
I guess it does.
It always depends.
Give me a scenario that would, and I simplified this by
Yes.
making this couple basic.
Okay.
They don't have fancy things. They
Yes.
have a townhouse.
Yes.
And they met 2 years ago.
Okay. So in those circumstances, you see, you met 2 years ago, you're already getting a divorce.
It happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Now, it depends. You are married out of community property without accrual. So already it means that there is a contract that you entered into before you solemnized your marriage.
Okay.
That
explain.
contract says that I come in with this, you come in with this.
So there would be,
If you did have assets,
okay.
yes. If you did have assets
When
before,
when we got this
when
thing
you
together.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. But if so you come in with this, I come in with this, and we come together to say that we are going to get married. So what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine.
That's out of community of property.
Out of community
We're clear.
property, we are clear without any accrual. So everything that I get in my name. Everything that you get in your name.
Mm.
Now, what couples sometimes do is that they want to confuse this. They start getting joint assets. And that's where the problem comes in.
You find the contract was clear.
The contract was clear.
But now
You've contracted outside of that contract.
Yo.
So when you've contracted like that, it means that whatever properties, assets that you've both entered into and you're both signatories to belong to the two of you. On divorce,
because you've created a parallel contract.
You have.
Whether it's in paper form or it's implied, it's there.
Mm-hmm. But you see, the implied one is quite difficult because now you must prove
this arrangement.
And who is making the money or who is making the payments rather
towards
that asset, whatever it is that you have. If you're claiming Lori, okay, show us that you are also contributing to it.
Yeah.
But long story short, that out and out is best case scenario.
Where we met, fell in love, married you. I want to marry. And you say, great. But out of community of property. Now, second step is, what do you have? What do I have?
Yes.
I have bicycle. You have Mercedes. And okay, good. We put it on paper. Basically preparing for should this thing not work.
Yes.
You take your Mercedes, I take my bicycle. We're all happy.
We're all happy. And everything else that you accrue in that marriage as well.
So explain that. Because there's another version of with accrual.
Yes. So now if it's out and out, remember now you're getting things in your respective names separately.
Yes.
So I'll get things under Tshepho, David under Libitsola David.
And I carry
house,
on.
car, whatever. I cannot come and say, I can say, Lord, I was contributing financially to that. It's just a mess. It can be a mess if it brings up. But again, you've got that contract that said, this is what you guys had agreed to initially. If there's circumstances or if you can prove that you had a financial contribution to it, and you are saying that it was the agreement between the two of us that
implied, not written, just spoken,
but it also have to be supported by other things.
Evidence.
Yeah. Emails, WhatsApps, SMSs.
Okay.
Baby, ke patetse half ya.
Hey.
Baby, I paid half of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you need to pay the other half, all of those things. Everything. When it's love, it's love. When it's war, it's war. So all of those things now get used against you to say, Lord, no.
I have a point, and it keeps nagging me in the back of my mind. And if I don't raise it now, I'm sure somebody will say, David, you missed the chance there. I keep very few SMSs on my phone. I hate a cluttered phone. I hate going through my phone and I see last week's message. It's done. The discussion was done. It's completed. I deleted. I don't know hard conversations. And and what you're telling me sounds like I should. I promise you it does. I don't keep record of what I buy you. I don't. I won't. I went to the shop and I buy you sneakers and I move on. I didn't. And I imagine you, when you buy me dinner, you're going to keep the receipt. It sounds like I should.
Well, all I'm saying is that when it's war, everything comes out.
Even receipts will come out.
Receipts,
Say holiday at Kruger National Park 20 years ago.
Everything comes out.
Goodness.
Like, you'll be shocked at the amount of detail. I'll never forget when I was still a candidate in my candidate years, this lady comes with a towel that she claimed was the towel that the husband used after having sex with one of his concubines. And she brings it to the office as evidence that this is
the cause of the mess, if anything.
So you see, it's very extreme, but
it gives detail.
Clients do that. Like, clients do divorce. I don't know if it brings out a different person altogether.
Animal.
And an animal,
Yes.
but those things come out. So you will see someone bringing you a WhatsApp that they've saved. A WhatsApp conversation that they saved. Email conversations that have been saved, all of those things, and now they're being used against you.
That's amazing.
To prove that, yes,
this is, or the life you maintained.
Yes, this is what we agreed upon verbally, but because I can't prove the verbal agreement, this is the evidence to show that you were acting in terms of that verbal contract that we created.
So you find people approach, because it sounds like a very corporate approach to it, where we spoke on the phone. I said, hey, man, we're going to do A, B, C, and D. And then you follow up with an email as per our conversation.
Very corporate.
So now there's a
now we've
paper
reduced
trail.
exactly.
Now we're creating paper trail.
And then when you don't respond, that is the last communication. So if you don't respond,
I can defend that. I don't know what she was talking about. She's lying.
But you didn't respond. But here's prima facie proof.
No, well, saying as per our agreement, we are going to Bilabela. I did not respond. I don't know what she's talking about.
Did you go to Bilabela?
I didn't.
Are there photos of Bilabela?
Yeah.
But it's messy, man. It's messy. And I don't want people to think that the law is something that can be broken or whatever. But the reality is that we always deal with what we call prima facie evidence.
Yeah.
So what can you produce to prove your case? He who alleges must prove. That's the basic of it. So if you're saying that there is a contract and we've contracted out and out, then the prima facie is that everything that is in my name is in my name. It belongs to me. If you are saying that, yes, we've got a contract, but that car, I contributed to it. He who alleges must prove.
Receipt.
Show us. So that we can then make a determination on that aspect, on that one that is disputed. But the nice thing about that is that not everything becomes disputed, you see, because there will be specific things that will be disputed from that marriage.
Have you seen a situation where people claiming gifts?
Yes. They would want to say no. This previous client of mine, just very recently, was given a Mercedes Benz as a gift.
I want to meet your clients.
An ML.
Yeah.
And apparently now, the husband during the divorce first started saying that he wants it back, and client is saying, no, this was given as a gift to me. So those things specifically, they're excluded. So even in the contract, you'll see a basic antenuptial contract without the accrual would state that they're entering into this marriage out of community property with the exclusion of accrual, and they agree that any gifts and donations between the parties will remain in their respective.
Wow. The law acknowledges.
It acknowledges that. Now, still, if it's been given as a gift or a donation, it's like now you must put it in writing. That
this is a gift.
This is a gift. But you see, the nice thing is that when you give people, sometimes you want to take pictures.
Yes.
Hey,
It's
my
wrapped
wife,
in a
be
box.
my wife.
There's a ribbon. So those you have to prove the elements of it
You
being
have to
a
prove
gift.
the
That
elements of it being a
this is
gift.
a gift.
Exactly. That's a
See,
gift.
it's circumstance. How do I prove that it's a gift? It's not a gift.
He who alleges must prove.
She was using it. She was using it because it was a spare car in the yard.
Hey, then show us that
It wasn't hers.
It wasn't hers.
It's in my name. Oh no, I wrote it in her name. See, already I'm confused. I'm entangled in my own words.
You wrote it in her name. Why? Isn't it a gift? Are you trying to evade creditors?
No, I'm trying to see how a loophole here.
No, don't do it.
If it's not in her name, then if it's not hers, it mustn't be in her name.
If it's not hers, it mustn't be in her name. Why is it in her name if it's not hers?
Then it means it must have been a gift.
It has to be.
Yeah. Okay, let's try to break the law. The circumstances where we're married and we have all this and we are divorcing, how do I avoid being caught up in a situation where I'm paying all these things? And and you've answered it in a lot of different ways. And I'm hoping your answer will be don't keep receipts. Don't, you see what I mean? Don't avoid. What do you say to a guy or a girl, for that matter, who's made a lot of money and who just met someone and they love them and I want to make this person my person. You can already tell that they are not ambitious. There's a lot going that's not right. But you love them. How do you protect yourself in a situation like that? Because marriages end. That's why you're in business. How do you protect yourself in this? How do I avoid a mess later on?
The mess is always contractual. So the problem is we either don't know what type of marriages we're going into, or we are not explained, or it's not even being explained because you can get the resources to get the information for you to make an informed decision.
Of course. It's not that information is not available.
It's not that it's not available.
Yeah.
I mean, we're having this podcast now.
That's it.
So educate yourself. You're making one of the biggest decisions of your life.
Yeah.
How do you not want to take and spare a few thousand rands
To understand.
so that you can be in a better position to know that what are my options? What is the effect of even me starting to go and kilo kokota for Magadi?
Yes.
You know, I was so impressed with my previous clients. They came to me before even that process of Magadi, you know, because they wanted to know what is it that we need to know so that we can secure ourselves and our future because we are starting this journey. So inform yourself, David. Like there's no way around it. If you don't know, get someone that can help you make an informed decision. And again, the contract will always save you.
Yeah.
Because later on, and I will say I think 80% of my uncontested divorces had to do with contracts.
The contract was clear.
The contract was very clear. They were married out of community or property without the accrual. And it was very clear. Very, very clear. Even the wives, like, you know, you can't fight that kind of divorce. You can try, but it's like, oh, now I need to find the receipt and find whatever to prove that, you know, it. If you're petty, yes, you can go into those details. But if you're really not petty and you can see, Lord, this really is the end of the marriage, then really that is it. Yes, we'll have troubles, you know, when you're trying to get the other spouse to sign here and there. But there's no room for you to contest.
Yes,
like you can't
clear.
wiggle around it because the contract when you entered into the marriage was very clear.
Because you were going back to your statement, you were both informed of what you were doing.
Both informed of what you were doing. So even if you got the proper advice, they would have told you that, you see this one here, there's no mshiga
tied.
shika.
This one is
Yeah,
tied.
like it's tied. Like you are in this for love.
Yeah.
Don't want to at the end of the love, when it falls or it fails, want to claim assets.
There's none.
You're not
You're
going to get it.
nothing.
Even the pensions, investments, all of those things are excluded in an antenuptial contract.
Yeah.
Because you have to think of those things. It's not just your house and cars, assets. It's investments. It's everything.
It's money that we don't see physically.
It's money that we don't see.
Yes.
But one thing that I've realized that I think some people don't actually get, or some business people, is that even your directorship or shareholding in companies becomes the
part of the estate.
Part of the estate.
Wait a minute.
When you're married in community property.
Aha, okay.
Your
directorship is an entity that you carry with you all the time.
Yes.
When you walk into this room, you are a director.
But remember also, very importantly, it's not just the director, because part of governance is that a director is an employee of the shareholder.
Explain. Keep going.
So you have a shareholder, and then you have directors. The shareholders employ what?
True.
The directors.
Yes. Yes, got it. 100%.
So you can be a director of the company, but you get divorced and you're married in community property, but your wife or your husband does not have a share to the company because you're not a shareholder.
You're an employee.
You're an employee. You are only employed as a director.
Yeah.
So all of those things now, it goes back to the importance now of what? The contract, and also the contract of the Bible of the company.
That's it.
The memorandum of incorporation. Because what does it say? In the shareholders agreement, what does it say? If there is a succession plan in place to say that, some companies, some have to dissolve on the death of another partner. Why? Because
they brought everything to their life, essentially. Their directorship, shareholding is tied with everything they're doing.
With everything that they're doing. So when you pass away now, it also needs to dissolve. So even now, part of the contracts that you need to be very wary of are also those contracts in your business to make sure that the director is only the employee. The shareholders have a shareholding. In terms of a percentage, they'll have their shareholders certificate to prove their shareholding in the company. They employ the directors.
Yeah.
So even that Bible of the company needs to incorporate some clauses there
that clears them
from
your love life.
Yes. And this is why many people get it very wrong, because I got to register the company go CIPC, and then you use the templates ya go CIPC as is standard form. Yeah.
You register a company, because now it's getting to where it's going in that direction. You register a company, it becomes a success. CIPC, fill those standard forms. You are the director. We are married in community property, but this business is yours on paper. It doesn't see me at all, that business. The paperwork, when they inquire, they find only you. And the business borrows lots of money. And it gets in trouble. I'm minding my business, working at ABSA. You are running this successful business that ends up getting in trouble. And it now owes millions of rents to many people. Am I part of your debts? We're in community property.
Yes.
I'm part of...
What's yours is mine. What's mine is yours. What's yours is mine.
Oh, boy.
What is the business? It's either an asset or a liability.
Yes.
So in this case, it's either an asset or a liability. And if it's now becoming a liability, it's no longer a success. It's now becoming a liability.
For both of us.
And for both of us.
Because when it's doing well, it's for both of us.
It's for both of us. Exactly. So again, even that antenuptial contract would do what? Would also exclude you from any other assets and companies.
Whatever you do.
Whatever you are doing. Also, it's a great thing, because when you think about it, when the company is doing well, you are able to move the profits into assets somewhere for the benefit of the both of you.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do. Some people have trusts, they set up trusts and all of that for the benefit of all of you and all of whatever it is.
Even though on paper you're separate.
Even on paper you're separate, but the proceeds of that are for the benefit of the family. And I mean, I always say I agree with that kind of a contract, because if we say that we're building a life together and we're also going to build a family, the fruits of that is children.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd want to secure their future
That's true.
some way or another. Also, you don't also want whatever bad that happens in your life to also affect them. So wouldn't it be better if we can just use the proceeds,
And
put them
throw
in
it
a
together.
different
Yeah.
pot altogether for the benefit of these children?
Yeah.
And you can do exactly that. And that will be outside of your respective assets. And again, I still say I'm a proponent of trust. So I still say that's the best mechanism that you can ever do for your children.
Yeah.
You know, in your respective estates, you just create a trust together. Even there, though, warning, because there was a Supreme Court of Appeal judgment where this husband was putting money into the trust, but on the divorce, the wife wanted the trust to be dissolved, saying that the husband had not relinquished control
Okay.
of that. So, in essence, the assets that were in there were part of the assets of the joint estate because they were married in community property.
Okay.
Now, in those instances, obviously, because of the circumstances of that case, it showed that yes, he hadn't relinquished control.
You had to find that fact.
You have to find all of those.
Yeah.
But again, when it went on appeal, the Supreme Court said, no, you haven't given us enough evidence to show that this person hasn't
relinquished
control.
Wow.
So I think what helped that husband was that he wasn't the only trustee. So most people, what they do, David, they will create a trust. They are founder. They are trustee.
It's them.
They are beneficiary.
Yes.
It's your alter ego.
We have a politician. Well, actually, no. Let me not quote him incorrectly. He had his kids, but they were very little. For them to be a benefit, the trust, everything, founders, and all of that.
You can't. How can a kid be?
Well,
no.
Jeez.
No.
It gets messy in a case like that. I imagine no two cases are the same because there are two different people with two different needs, two different reality of circumstances, what they have, what they didn't have. Let's talk about with accrual.
Yeah.
It looks messy for me on paper because actually explain it.
Okay. So the accrual estate is that they are in principle 2 estates, 3 estates rather, and the third estate only comes into existence on the death or the divorce of either spouse.
Okay.
So
what is the third estate?
So this third estate is what we call the accrual or the accrued estate.
It's what we made.
What you made. So you start. I list. David has a Dodge. He's got a house. He's got a holiday home. I've got a car. I've got a flat and a few investments. So we state that when we started the marriage, in May 2023, this is what we had. Then 5 years down the line, we decided, okay, Reshab. Now, at the time, my estate was worth 1 million rand. Your estate was worth 10 million rand when we entered into the marriage. Now, during the 5 years, my estate grew from 1 million to about 15 million. So it saw a growth of about 14 million. Your estate grew from 10 million to 15 million.
Or stayed the same.
Or stayed the same even,
Yeah.
So yours stayed the same at 10 million. Mine increased by 14 million. And at the end, I'm on 15, you are on 10. Now, the accrual in my estate was 14 million. Now, this is where the creation of that third estate comes in. Death or divorce. So at the divorce, we now see whose estate has increased the most. And from that, how do we level them together to bring them to par?
Really?
Yes. So you are on 10, I'm on 14. Now,
you've gained.
I've gained
what?
14.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm on
And
15.
You're 15, and
You're
I've
on
gained.
10.
Let's
Nothing.
give me one.
You've gained 1.
Let's
Okay,
give me one.
you are on 11.
Yes.
Ne?
So there's movement.
There's movement. Yeah. You are on 1. I'm on 15.
Mhm.
Now, how do we balance them so that they're now equal?
Are we looking for an average?
We are looking for an average there.
Okay.
So now the exercise is that
we take both, we divide by 2. We look for a mean.
that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So now I have to now contribute to your estate. How much?
Jeez.
You are 4 million away from me. So I need to give to you 2.5 million because from my 15, 1.5 million.
We're not taking half of yours.
No, we're not taking half of mine.
Okay, because on paper it looks like we should be taking half of yours.
It's not half.
Yeah.
We're not taking half. We are saying that Tshepho, you are now on 15 million at the date of divorce.
Mm-hmm.
David is on 11 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
the difference is only 4.
The difference is only 4.
Yeah.
So how do we get to this middle point? I give you 1. I'm left with 14. You are now on 12.
Yeah.
I give you 1. I'm on 13.
Yeah.
You are now on 13. So that's how we are here. And
so
that's how
you
contribute.
Lost 2.
I contribute.
That's the
You
right
contribute
word. So, but I know
contribute only 2.
As a wife, you'll say I lost 2, but it's
yes,
fine.
no, it's a loss.
It's a loss. I said it right. I said it the way it is. It's yours.
But it's a contribution to the accrual estate so that we bring each other on par.
So you bring it this side.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 that came in here.
Mm-hmm.
Whose 2 is that? Mine?
It's for you. Akruwena. Ukawaterile. How hassle.
I was in love. I was looking after the love.
It's fine. That's why you can claim 2 because when you started with 1, next thing more 15. It means that I was doing something right.
As a lover,
you see,
I was a good lover.
I was doing something very right.
I was looking after your happiness, and then you blossomed.
Imagine.
I like that. 2. So it's
very messy.
It's very messy in court. Do we have to prove?
You have to prove a lot of things. And remember now, everything is in your respective estate.
Yeah.
So it's not that transparency. Sometimes the transparency is very blurry.
Yeah, we hide
things.
So we
need to bone, see.
And
find. Where do you have things? Where do you have, so it's not as clear. I don't like it. I don't like it only because it's messy. Like it's messy because now I'm trying to keep my 2 million like what Rafa.
Of course.
David is like, no, but Naku, you are there because
of me.
So I don't like that personally, but for some people it works. I think maybe it's the more fair.
It looks like.
Yeah.
Have you found the most common? I think historically, marriage in community property has been common.
Yes.
Historically.
Yes.
I imagine things
default.
have changed with time because it's also a default.
Very, very much so. Like I told you, this young couple that came to me before they even entered into the lobola negotiations, before they did that, because they were like, I heard that if we go, I was like, yes, because now you've sent you've sent your family representatives to go and speak on your behalf. They enter into an agreement written and formulated in terms of a lobola letter. That is an agreement.
Yep.
It's no longer an intention to marry. It's an agreement that yes,
we are.
So you guys did the best thing. So I'm seeing more and more couples now. I'm so happy.
That they
I'm very, very happy that they're getting the gist, like they're understanding the fact that marriages do end.
Yes.
And they carry a lot of financial, implications. They carry a lot of emotional, and you don't want to be dealing with all of those. Like, you must pick your struggle. You don't want to be dealing with all of them all at once.
Sure.
At least let me deal with my emotions while knowing that my money is secure.
Rather, because now you'll be dealing with
the emotions of the marriage ending. Now you want my money.
Justice. Now you want the children. And you're moving to Phuket. It's all complicated.
All at once.
And now you are Joel.
and Wajol on top of that.
And that makes it worse.
So it's one of those, like I'm just very happy that I think now the new breed is really
What are they doing in terms of the types of marriage? Community or property, out of community, accrual. What's happening
most
now?
of them are doing out and out.
Okay,
Yeah,
which is
out of community or
yes,
property
yours is
without
yours,
yours
yours
is
is
yours,
yours,
mine
mine
is
is
mine,
mine.
but they've got a plan on how they're going to grow the legacy, whatever it is that they want to
Together.
build. Yes.
And there's harmony in all of this because historically, he wants out of community property because he doesn't love me. I'm sure you know that
That I
concept.
know. Maybe because I'm a young lawyer, David. Ne?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm a
You're
young
seeing
lawyer.
them.
Because I'm seeing them. It's got nothing to do with the love aspect. It's got everything to do with estate planning, because essentially that's what it is. Like, marriage is one of the biggest decisions that you'll ever have to make. The spouse that you
For your
choose
finances.
for your
Let's
finances,
clarify that.
for your finances
Yes.
specifically, David,
Yeah.
for your finances.
Not the emotion.
Not the emotions. The emotions will go up and down. With
With seasons.
with the seasons, that's fine.
Yes.
But for your finances, it's a very final. Like, creditors look at you differently when you're married. When you're married in community property, when you're married out of community property, there's certain transactions that need a spouse, consent and all of that. So it's very much it's a big part of how you're going to live your life after the fact.
Do you know the statement you made that it's the biggest decision you'll make financially? Surely we don't know that. Do you find that we don't see it for what it really is?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. We don't see it for what it really is. I was we had a webinar, we had another what's this a womex conference some weeks back, where we were discussing the effects of it again on the business. We're speaking to business women, and the jaw drop.
But these women,
It was like we're speaking something that they don't know. And I was like, it's good that we are having these conversations, because when you don't know, you will do things, because you don't know and you're not educated or whatever. But the minute you know, trust me, you will look at these things differently. Like, not any contract is just a simple contract. Like, there's no such thing as a standard form.
yeah.
I don't believe that.
What surprises them the most? What have you found?
The fact that when you have a lobola letter and you've also got a business and you also now want to divorce, that the husband can get a claim to the business,
True. Yeah.
a share in the profits or whatever it is. Because usually it was an SMME program. So usually you're alone, in the company. If you're not, you've got another partner. So that again affects even the partnership itself, because you've registered via CIPC yourself. You haven't amended the memorandum of incorporation. There's no shareholders agreement that you both have agreed to
that
say.
Sees both of you as a couple.
That sees both.
Yeah.
You see. So
it sees you that the business sees you as an individual.
Yes.
But in reality,
you are linked to someone else. And now, because businesses are like that, you marry the person that you are in business with.
Exactly.
So even that shareholders agreement, they don't get the fact that your husband or your wife can get now a claim
to that
because of that marriage in community or property, or even if you don't get that lobola letter that now says that you have been welcomed, and go shota ke lenyalo la Sepedi, go shota kubu, go shota mapai eng, all of that. So that was the jaw drop, because I think that we don't look at it that far. We look at it just here to say that no, it's a house, it's cars, whatever. No, it goes much deeper. It extends. It's part of who you are. Your legal identity has changed completely.
You're married.
That
title carries a lot of financial weight.
It does.
I think it's, you said it, and it's not the first time we detail it, because I've had a conversation similar to this, but it was more love than it was contract issues. And I think we need to know that marriage is business. Everything else is secondary.
Yes.
Love is secondary in this regard. marriage is we decide to marry. We need to decide we are in business now, because that's really what it is.
That is exactly what it is. I like how Miles Monroe puts it that they're the mother and the father. It's a business. The family is a business. So the mother and the father become the directors, the shareholders.
Yeah.
The kids now become the directors, because now you need to direct them. To say you do this, you do this. They need to have their role within that business structure.
Go bale HR manager.
Go bale HR manager, go bale mang le mang.
Financial director.
But it's a business essentially. So we really, really need to start seeing it like that. We have to.
Do you find that, which is why I like this conversation, do you find that love tends to confuse? Well, it does, I'm sure. But how much of it contaminates these conversations when we are about to get married, but we're clouded by nothing else but love, because we think we're marrying for love.
Oof, with the love issue it's an emotional issue. I think if I can just say, there's love and then there's business, so the love feeling can fluctuate. Today I can love you, tomorrow I can hate you.
Absolutely.
And I don't even want to see you.
Ever again.
Your breathing makes me cringe. And it started from
love.
It
never gets to that. Your breathing.
So it started from love.
The source of life irritates me.
The source of life, like you just being here.
Yeah.
But because of that love, it's almost like we don't want to confront the real issues. Because
true, you must be aware.
You must have that end in mind, because when you plan for the end of it, then it means that the journey is seamless. Because at the end of the day, if we are creating wealth for our children, then they must be left with whatever assets that are going to be wealth creating for them.
You make me realize something important, that the end will happen. Whether it happens in death
or divorce.
It's
true.
The end will happen.
The end will happen.
However, some elements of the end will carry on because we've done something here. Whether we created kids or whether we created a business, it's something. The moment of end will be probably a beginning of something else. But our end must make sense. Because if in divorce, it's clear, if the contract is clear. Even in death, the contract must be clear. Because it's the end.
It's the end.
And everything ends.
Everything ends, David. Everything ends.
Wow. Even marriage.
Even marriages end. So that end in mind, like, you start with the end in mind, because whatever end goal that you're trying to achieve, make sure that you'll be able to achieve it.
Yeah.
Make sure that when you pass away, you've taken out my business partner, like saying that, I realized that we are supposed to take out insurance on your business partner's life, things like that,
Yes.
like, it's not nice to think of,
but
it does happen. Also, now imagine Tshepho comes and says, the shares, Gamo, they need to maintain these children.
And that's not impossible.
And it's not impossible, because it's a maintenance claim for the children against this company that is generating money.
Yeah.
So what must you do? Must you dissolve? Do you give them? So all of those
do you
things.
Keep it going? Do you want them to be shareholders? Active shareholders?
You see, what do they know about the business? All of those things, succession plans, the end comes. But you need to make sure that when that end comes, your affairs are in order.
What have you noticed with regards to the difference between men and women when it comes to contracts of marriage? What differences have you spotted?
I think the major difference would be for men. There's been a shift in protecting assets against the woman.
Okay.
And with the woman, there's been a shift in protecting assets for the benefit of the children. So it's almost like the men are trying to protect the assets against this wife taking everything.
Yeah.
And not more for keeping them for the children.
Okay.
So the protection for the wife is there, but there's no succession to the
The
children.
kids.
There's no transfer to the kids.
So it's almost, to put it simply, it's a selfish move that says,
At least from my experience, it's been protecting it to say that I don't want another person or another wife or this wife to take things that I work for my children.
Okay.
But they don't follow it up
Yes.
with putting things in place so that the children actually get the inheritance that they are trying to protect.
They're deserving, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So with women, it has been more of, I'm creating a legacy, or we are building a legacy for the children. So they've got the children in mind, and they're creating mechanisms for the children to be able to access whatever assets that they are protecting.
And the man, go back to the man again.
So the man, he's protecting it. It's like, Deza, how nyaki, no matter what happens, musadla ska krasil.
Yes. And do I think about the kids I'm doing this?
Yeah, he's saying
that woman gets nothing.
He's saying that woman mustn't leave with the assets.
Yeah.
But he's not putting things in place so that the assets don't just fall on him. They must now transfer to the kids.
He writes the maths equation, but doesn't write the final answer at the bottom.
Because the final answer is that they must transfer to the
whether
kids.
It directs somewhere.
So oblokile kam.
So that causes confusion.
That causes confusion as well. Because why? If now all the assets are now in the father's estate.
And they're stuck.
And they're stuck there because there's no succession plan of these assets to the beneficiaries.
Doesn't the law makes it automatic?
It's not automatic. You either succeed either by being nominated in a will, or if you are a beneficiary.
If there's no will.
If there's no will, then it's interstate.
Yes.
Yeah. And interstate deals with how many dependents do you have. And even on interstate, people that have a claim for maintenance against you, if you are maintaining,
wherever they are,
they can lodge a claim.
Even if they were not known by this family,
they can lodge a claim. Jesus. They say that this person has been supporting me. You bring whatever documents that you can show that this person has been maintaining you. It's so weird that we're dealing with a pension fund case as well, where this a client passes away and he had an extramarital affair, and part of that was that this woman comes to claim. The family doesn't know about it, but they were able to prove to the pension fund the proof of support
that this person
has been maintaining me, and they were able to get a share based on that.
Wow.
So you see, those e-wallets, those transfers, monthly, weekly, yearly lump sums.
Look at even my nephew is shaking his head, and he's a young boy.
You are creating a evidence of support that you are rendering to someone else.
How much? Yeah, this is a question. I bet you somebody's thinking of this. How much evidence of support is good enough? Let me rephrase. How many e-wallets justifies support? How many trips to Phuket, Dubai, Devon justifies a lifestyle? You get what I mean?
I hear you.
How many roses justifies lifestyle? But let's go to support first. We'll come to lifestyle because I realize they're two different subjects.
Yeah.
How many e-wallets? Hey,
okay.
Rajola man.
So Rajola na kwekakang. We've been dating for how long? For 5 years?
Let's say 2 years.
2 years.
Let's try to.
In the 2 years, they've been that's 24 months.
Yes.
In the 2 years, there's been about 20 e-wallets. It's all the circumstances. How frequent are these? Are they of the same amount? Are they more or less? You know? Are they around about the same date?
Pattern.
Is there a pattern? Exactly. Are you creating a pattern? Because if Korodisha ka fortnight.
Yeah. Or
fortnight.
Or when I earn, I know there's a 0.1% that goes to you.
That goes to you. So that's the pattern that you create.
So that justifies Maintenance.
That justifies the maintenance, the duty to
man.
support.
Oh,
You've
man.
been supporting me. I'm now dependent on you. Therefore, can I claim for that support? And it's always dependent again, even when you get like deceased estates, but it's always the maintenance of those that are proven, because yours now will be disputed.
Of course, there will be someone who say,
Yes.
"Bah,
Yes, we'll say no,
No
but we
way."
don't know.
Yes.
So he who alleges must prove.
Mhm.
Always that.
You gave me an e-wallet of 400 rands every month for
Every
the
single
past
month.
2 years.
So now of these, who are you?
Yes, I'm
Who-
Maria from Dobsonville. They were
Hey.
like,
Who are you? What's the relation to this?
he was
this
he was
deceased.
my boyfriend.
He was your boyfriend. He was giving you money. Okay. Now we are here at the deceased state. Is there enough money to cater for your
Girlfriend.
needs? Your needs, as the one that is saying that you need to be maintained.
Yes.
Yes. Is there enough? Is there sufficient cash?
So if there is, maybe.
Maybe.
It could be that there
It
isn't.
could be. It could be that there isn't, because remember now, if you have kids,
Yes.
your kids are how old? So usually what we do is that, specifically for minors. So I have another client that disinherited his family
Okay.
from in terms of a will,
What?
but he was married in communal property. So you can't disinherit your wife's share in the property.
Because it's automatically linked to it.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So his 50% is what he can divest
Okay.
to the other party that he nominated in the will.
Yeah.
Now he's got a young daughter. So that 50% already, we need to do what? It needs to first apply to the surviving spouse and to the minor child.
Mhm.
Surviving spouse gets 50% by virtue of the marriage and communal property.
Yeah.
And the child, the minor child, gets a percentage based on her needs.
A percentage of the remaining 50.
Of the remaining 50.
Yes.
Now, what do? You prove her claim. Minor child, how old is the child? So maybe you're speaking about a 12-year-old. She needs to be supported until what age?
So that needs to be a discussion.
So that needs to be, then we do it in terms of an actuarial report.
Yeah.
Where we do what are her monthly expenses, and over a 6-year period, let's say up until she's 18,
Yes.
or not even 18. We say we take it further to say university and all of those.
That's it.
This is the projection of her maintenance needs. And as a result, this amount that is left is insufficient to take care of any other person.
Like girlfriends.
So this child will then take that lion's share of the maintenance, because you can't give to outside people outside of
Before
the man and child. Why? Because every matter where a child is involved is of paramount importance in South Africa.
Wow, man. Do you find girlfriend issues a lot?
A lot.
Or boyfriends, for that matter. In your divorces.
Oof, there's always an element of adultery.
Yeah.
Always. Almost always.
Almost
always. I don't want to lie to you. Almost always. I'm trying to think of a divorce where there was no mention of cheating. I think maybe one.
Really?
I'm really trying.
So you're even saying out of 100, only one would be without adultery. That's bad.
Like only one, I think. And that's one I did win. This is 2023. So 2022 last year. I think that was the only case that neither of the parties said that this person is cheating. It was just that we've fallen out of love. We can't live together anymore.
Yes.
I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. And yeah, that was it.
But 99% of the time is...
I can only think of one, David. One.
That's bad.
One.
We'll assume you've only done 2 divorce cases. So it's 50%. But obviously that's a lie. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, like he cheated.
Almost always the case.
So then it's not unusual with those statistics. It's not unusual to have a girlfriend with a claim. In this context, yes, it's not unusual at all.
I remember on one of the times I was on radio, a wife calls. She says that the husband cheated.
Mm.
He's unemployed. He's not working. Hasn't been working. She's taking care of everything. Husband cheated. Now has an extramarital child.
Mm.
Now the baby mama wants maintenance. And they're asking, can they claim? I was like, yes.
So there's a logic that says the cheating, well, the other girlfriend can't claim. That seems to be the logic, the logic
Can't
that's
claim
applied.
from where?
From the husband that
You can claim for
well, maintenance of your child.
maintenance of the child. Yes.
That sounds
yes.
obvious enough.
Yes. But now remember, you see, as a girlfriend, as the child can claim even from the joint estate.
What?
Because the child has a duty to be maintained. It's in the best interest. Now, if there is a maintenance order for that child, what is a maintenance order? It's seen as a liability.
Yes.
So a liability in the husband's estate, when you're married in communal property, is a liability in your joint estate.
Joint estate. And it needs to be attended to.
It needs to be attended to. So when they come, they can even come to the wife and say, hey, mother, please pay for the maintenance.
Whoa.
That's how bad
Hey,
it is.
but I don't even know this child. I don't care.
He's a child of your husband.
In fact, that it goes back to what's yours is yours. What's yours is ours.
What's yours is
ours.
What's yours is ours.
So your child
is
that
my
you made
child
out in the streets is our child.
Is now our child. Yeah, he or she's a child of
this
yes
thing we have. Is it fun though? Well, ask this very politely. Is it fun to be dealing with these type of cases? No,
not at all. Maybe sometimes amusing. Like you'd just be sitting there like, really? Like truth is stranger than fiction. The things you see in the papers, David.
Yeah.
But truth is stranger than fiction.
So you think you can write more fictitious stories based on what you've read?
Based on what you've read. And you're like, what? Movie, film.
Yeah.
Film. And yeah, it gets worse. It gets yeah.
You meet someone with a child. You get married. Now you're raising that child as part of as your child. You have other kids as well. It becomes a nice, family. You divorce. What happens to does that child? Because it's lifestyle and does that child have a claim?
Always.
Yeah.
Remember the child. Now the child is claiming from who?
You're divorcing.
You're divorcing. So now before the divorce, so let's go into how the child came to be part of the family. Was the child adopted?
No.
Into the family?
Does that have to be formal?
There is a formal adoption.
Yeah.
But with the papers and all of that. But customarily, it's sufficient that ulobole ngwana.
Yes,
of
course.
Then you
you adopt it.
You adopt.
Customarily, you're adopting.
Customarily, you've adopted the child. Yeah. But obviously, legislatively speaking, you'd still have to jump the hoops of the actual adoption.
Formal adoption.
Because why? Anything that needs the signature of parents, koskolong, visa, going out of the country, all of that, it needs a signature of the parent that actually adopts them.
Pause though for a second. Yeah. So I direct it differently. The child has their own dad who's looking after them. Okay. Whenever the child is to travel to wherever, that their dad will sign.
Yes.
But they live with you here.
Yes.
It's a common story. This.
Yes.
You are raising them as their father or their mother for that matter. But they're not biologically your child. You're raising them.
Yes.
You're looking after their mental state, their life. You pay for whatever. They are part of this family. They are they're not outside. They're part of this family entirely. You divorce their mother or their father. Again, I ask, do they have a claim?
The claim for maintenance for any child will be against their biological parents. First and foremost.
Okay.
It doesn't stop there.
I thought you were done. Okay.
First and foremost against the biological parents because they've got a duty to support them. Now, in the event that the biological parents cannot maintain reasonable needs of the child, then we take it a step further. Who else was maintaining the child?
So we go back. It's a girlfriend scenario.
It's a
Has
girlfriend.
there been a pattern?
Has there been a pattern? So we take it down to say that the biological parents, are they able to maintain? Now, if in this situation, I'm the stepmother, the biological parents are not able to maintain.
Yeah.
The duty then falls on the person that was ordinarily maintaining. It's the same thing, yeah. Just if a man has been supporting a child and finds out, Lord, that child is not his.
Much later.
That duty to support doesn't stop because you found out that the child is not yours. Why? Because it's in the best interest of the child for them to be maintained, even though you found that out.
I was deceived
You were deceived.
into this
That's
deal.
fine. But the best interest of the child say that child needs to be supported.
Wait a minute.
So now the claim for maintenance need to now be directed elsewhere.
Wait a minute. You said that's fine. It's not. I was deceived. I didn't know this child
It's
is
fine.
not mine.
Yes.
And this child is now 10.
Hmm.
And I find out that he's not mine at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done so much for a child as a parent would.
Mm.
And you're saying the duty still rests with me.
With you. When you start that maintenance,
there's
when
a
you
flaw.
start that, I'm telling you, it's so kisono. But
Yes, say it
kisono
again.
for you,
It's a
but
shame.
it's even a bigger shame for the child if they are not able to continue
Their lives.
their lives because of that.
Okay. Let's look at it for a second as a criminal offense.
Yeah.
For 1 second.
Mhm.
You have wronged me
Mhm.
as the woman
Mhm.
and told me that this is my child.
Mhm.
Already you've done a criminal act. For a second.
Why is that a criminal act?
No, wait. You've deceived me. It's fraud.
So when I lie,
It's fraud.
How is
it's
it
a
fraud?
fraudulent act.
fraud.
What do you mean?
it's-
You
no,
defrauded me into believing
no.
that the child you're carrying is mine. I believed you.
It's
and
not
I've
fraud. I
spent-
lied.
That's what people who commit fraud do. They lie.
Yeah, but yours, it's not a criminal. It's not fraud.
That's why for a second I said, let's look at it as a criminal offense because
We can't look at it as a criminal
you stabbed
offense.
me in the back. You lied to me and I believed you and I spent hard-earned money.
Yes.
I sacrificed. And you can imagine the sacrifice of a committed
Everything.
father.
Emotions, everything.
Everything I put on the table. And then you tell me it's not mine. And the law says, sorry. Actually, they say hardy because hardy is different. Hardy.
Hardy. The most you can do, I remember there was a commentary on this, is claim damages from the mother.
Yeah.
You can claim that.
Something.
But again, the child is still alive, still needs to be fed and clothed and all of that.
Listen to this. It's not my child.
Agree, we're maintaining. We've just said now,
I was
Lord, there
maintaining-
was a pattern of maintenance on a child or a spouse.
Yes.
You've
but
created that pattern.
wait a minute.
Even though under the false pretense that
That is the word. That phrase I was maintaining under
But
false
you did
pretense.
it. You were doing
Under
it.
false pretense.
It-
I wouldn't have had I known the truth.
It's fine.
Can't believe you say it's fine.
Like, it really is fine. No one would. But you were.
I wonder if anyone has lost this case. There must be, surely.
I don't know of any reported cases where the husband has successfully gone after the wife. But, legal commentary says that yes, definitely.
You have to maintain the child's life.
You have to, the duty still rests on you.
Papa guy, I asked.
Papa Gage.
Where's the father?
In most instances. So you'd find that either the father is unknown, but I still think that's a lie. Women always know.
Yeah.
Either the father is
No, but,
unknown or he has passed away or whatever. And then that duty, it's basically that the maintenance application must now be taken to the correct person. And once that person takes over, then,
So I'm waiting for the correct person.
But you can still say that this child has a grandmother,
Yes.
a
Uncles.
uncles,
On the
whatever,
other side.
on the other side. Because
Unless if there's a claim that there's a statement that says they are unknown.
they're
which
unknown.
Could be there.
Yeah. But there's nothing stopping you from basically saying that no, this child has his grandfather. These needs can be done by these people.
Again, because we're dealing with a 12-year-old child who doesn't know what the hell's going on. Who then activates that claim? The very claim that says, you, victim of a fraud.
It can be the mother, of the child. It says no, you were maintaining the child. Now there's still that duty to maintain the child because I'm unable to.
I think she's evil.
That would be very evil, yes.
I think
pursue
she's evil for deceiving me and continue to want me to maintain the child, then follows legal processes.
David.
You lied to me.
Hey.
You realized.
No bar.
I can't believe that's what it comes to.
No sabon.
Child doesn't look like you. Couldn't you see? That's mean. That's mean.
That's very mean. That's very mean. Like, that's very mean. Mean to the core.
I've had a show once when I was talking about secrets in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I do such conversations on the radio, I literally feel like I'm bungee jumping because I have no idea what the hell's going to happen. It is bungee jumping, the rope. There's a very high chance the rope will hold you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This lady says, I fell pregnant in marriage twice. He thinks they are his kids. He doesn't know that they are not. We divorced. He continues to think they're his kids. He maintains them like a good dad, and they're not his kids. I know. That's exactly how it left me. I couldn't believe it. And so I'm giving you even a nicer version of the story where I'm still with her.
She must go to the grave with that secret.
Well, she told it on the radio.
Yeah. I hope she disguised the voice.
I wonder, Wow.
Wow, man.
So things happen out there.
No, things do happen.
I took you to school. You were nothing.
Mm.
You and not in a bad word. Your life was just doomed.
Mm-hmm.
You were going to end up. No. You were going to end up struggling.
Okay.
And I came along, guy or girl, which happens a lot. And I love you, so I empower you.
Mm-hmm.
I give you a better chance at life. And your life, it flies. We marry. I stay in the 5,000 rands a month salary bracket. Yours just continues and continues and continues. We divorce. I have a claim. A big claim, right?
You have a claim for what? For the assets?
Yeah, whatever it is that you get out of my money.
How are you married in community or property?
Let's say I'm married in community or property.
Well, everything.
It's obvious.
Everything is
okay.
One estate.
Accrual.
Again, you started here. You started zero. So we shot up. Balance. It's like our example.
We're balancing.
Now we're balancing.
Out at least I lose nothing. Out and out.
Yeah.
Unless I prove something.
Unless you can prove something. So usually, there was a case, and I don't know why they like using this example. They say unless if you win the lottery, so you're married.
There is a story, I'll tell you, but carry on.
There is you win the lottery and then you decide that you're going to divorce. No, now I can claim that because how? We've been living together nice. You didn't have anything.
You win the lottery.
You win the lottery and you think you can go spend your millions. No.
It's a real story. It's a real story, and it's a fairly recent story of someone that won, I don't know a lot of money, like 10 million. Well, it is in dollars because it can buy freaking a township.
Okay.
So won about $10 million. This lady kept it a secret to the husband, divorced the husband, and he went his way. She went her way. She started living it up, enjoyed her life. The husband stayed with the house because then they were living in a relatively small house. So before the millions, the husband stayed, and some letter came from the lottery people. Whatever it was saying, it was enough to indicate that she won. So, because he's reading it and it's like, hey, Matot, was this person won money? And inquired and found that, yes, indeed, she won a lot of money and started lodging to claim. And yes, the ticket proved that she won before the
Yes.
divorce.
Yes,
Or,
it's
yes,
true.
she won before the divorce and he was
Yes.
able to claim.
It's
So it's a
true.
true story.
Oh, wow. Okay. So go after the lottery money and whatever money they're hiding.
So no one can really get away with
You
it.
can't get away. And again, like I said, you see, that's the nice thing about what I love now about the financial disclosure.
Yeah.
Because that form, you fill it in, it's also under oath. You are saying that everything that I'm declaring
It's
here
true.
is true.
Yeah.
So if something comes up and I see, I'm like,
You said.
where's the source of these funds? Why are you
Jeez.
living it up? Where are these things coming from?
So you must continue to live in poverty.
Yeah.
Even now,
I you
I
said
get
you don't have
you
money.
don't have anything.
Hey,
So you can't suddenly
live it up.
Well, it's newly found money.
Well, newly found money, show us that it's newly
new.
found money.
Yes.
Then it's fine. It's after the divorce, it's fine.
No one can chase
we
you
can't
there.
we can't do
So you
anything.
can't claim after you left.
You can't claim after you left the money that you got after you left.
After the marriage.
You can't claim it. But the money that you got during the marriage,
it's all ours. Like you say it with that
ours.
face. You're about to sign a big deal
Mm-hmm.
and you divorce. The timing is an issue.
Yeah, the timing is always an issue because it's not just the contract that you're signing; it's leading up to it. How is the wife involved in the deal at all?
Not.
Nothing.
She's a wife. She's doing
just
her
a
life.
wife,
Yeah,
and then
she's a medical doctor over there minding her business.
why does he want to divorce? Why doesn't he just change his matrimonial property regime?
Okay, what is that?
You make an application. It's more costly. That's why I say you'd rather invest before getting into the marriage in a good lawyer to advise you of what your options are, to draft a contract for you, rather than doing it later, because you don't have to get divorced before signing that big deal. All you need to do is just do an application that they change your marital property regime.
Okay.
So,
but you say it's a costly exercise.
It's costly only because you're doing it in the high court.
Okay.
And also because you need to advertise, you need to let your creditors know. So you need to let your creditors know what it is that you want to do, what you're proposing. So if you're married in committal property and you now want to be married out of committal property without the accrual, that has different effects.
Financial implications.
On all
your
other things that you had with your wife jointly. Because remember, when you sign a contract even for a bond, banks like having two people to go after. They know that if David can't pay,
we chase this one.
That's
it.
Because they're both working. So even when you enter into that contract, they know where you're working. They've got your pay slips because you most probably produced both your pay slips to qualify for that bond. So they both know that these are good people. These are good payers.
So when you change
it now, who's going to take responsibility of that bond? Because you're no longer in a communal property. You're no longer joint bond holders.
Yes.
One of that you. English.
Yes. One of you.
Yes. Yeah. One of you now needs to take that responsibility. But again, if you are taking that responsibility, will the bank be satisfied that should you default, they'd be able to recover all monies from you?
Question. Does a bank have a right to say, no, you can't do it? Or
they can object. Definitely. They definitely can.
Or everybody else you owe.
Or everyone else that you owe.
No.
So all you in that application, you list the creditors that you have, and you also send them notifications that you intend to change your marital property regime. You also send them a copy of the application together with a copy of the proposed change. So that antenuptial contract or the proposed antenuptial contract will form part of the papers that you will then send to the creditors, because they then must, once they look at it, they must agree and say, okay, these are the arrangements. Because already in that contract, remember when I said that contract will set out who is going to take which creditor.
Yes.
So if, for example, you've got a bond with ABSA for your mansion in Cape Town, you've got a MFC for the Land Rover, you've got this, all of that. So you will state in the application which spouse is going to take care of which asset.
That's what
And
it is.
then in the antenuptial contract, you would actually then put them aside to say, okay, David, you'll have the Land Rover, Tshepho, you're going to have the house and all of that. But also now, when you give it to your creditors, they obviously need to do that credit check to say the bond on this house, you needing to pay something like 50,000 Rand. So if you need to pay that, are you in a financial position to pay that?
Can you afford it?
Can you afford it?
Yeah.
And if there's no qualms, then they won't object. But if they do see problems, then they definitely do object. And then it's up to the court basically to decide whether the objections are fair or not. Because just because they object does not mean that you can't get the order. If the court is satisfied that there's sufficient evidence or there's sufficient measures taken by the spouses, the couples, to ensure that the debts are dealt with,
looked after,
then they will be able to order that.
So because the
that
criteria
order.
that's used by the bank is not the same that criteria used by the court.
Yes.
Yes.
But again, remember that because the banks are seen as experts, so the courts are more inclined
to go with
them.
Yeah.
Because whatever reasons, so they'll object, but they must also put the reasons why they object to that. You can't just make a bare objection and say, no, we object, but you're not saying on what grounds or what prejudice you stand to gain from that change. So you have to object with reasons. And if they are valid and sound reasons, then the courts are most likely have to go with the creditors because they know best with regards to finances and affordability.
So it's not all lost if you're married.
It's not all
in
lost.
Community or whatever marriage.
Is. It's not.
You can still change it.
Yes.
But it's not that easy. As in, like, I can't wake up in the morning and say, baby.
No.
There's a process.
It's a process. It's a high court application. We draft your papers. We present your case to the court.
It has to be put on the roll.
It has to be put on the roll. We even have to produce argument on behalf of you.
So there's an advocate.
Hey, the whole shabam. So you go there and once your order is granted, then, but it's really not a big issue. Like I said,
it happens.
It happens. Yeah. It does happen. Just as long as, I think with most of the clients that we're able to help, they didn't have big assets.
Okay.
So they had cars,
Yes.
They changed because they were now trying to get into property. But again, like I said, they were trying to secure the property for their children.
Okay.
So now the wife and the husband are going into business. So they now don't want the business to affect whatever assets that they're getting. And also now to protect those assets against the creditors in the business, then let's do this where we.
So what is this they're doing? They are becoming with accrual or becoming without?
Yeah.
Out and out.
Yeah, out and out. We had one that did with accrual. The other ones went out and out.
Yeah. Or do you, boo?
Do you, boo? Yeah. So now they build this. So the plan was that we'll buy this house first under your name, then we'll buy the other house under our son's name and whatever. But they had a whole plan.
Yeah.
They had a whole plan for what they wanted to do.
It sounds like a legacy plan.
Yes.
Sounds like
they had exactly that, a legacy plan.
It's an interesting world. I find it fascinating, which is probably why I have the second or third conversation about this. Because I find it, and I remember somebody asking me, why are you so interested in divorce? You're not even married.
That was going to be my question, like, but David, honey.
But you said it. You actually gave the answer to it. You said it has a lot to do with pre-planning.
Yeah.
Because marriage, like most things, but marriage amongst other things, requires a lot of pre-planning. Otherwise, you're going to regret a lot of the decisions. Put love aside and plan. That's really. We could have recorded this in 2 minutes. Put love aside and plan properly.
But we have to give them the scenarios.
No, absolutely.
We have to. Like, they must know that. Yeah,
there's
you can get into a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
for failure to plan.
Failure to plan. Do you mind if people call you and want advice from you?
I don't mind. These are clients.
Because that's what's going to happen.
They're my bread and butter.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, we
to
want
you.
to help you because, when we say go to people that know, we mean
You. So what details do we use?
info
Yeah.
at mmdinc.co.za.
Yeah. You got it, right?
Yes.
I think what you've given us is a gift. I truly appreciate it because now we get to see it. What do you say to a couple that's about to get married soon? They are thinking about it.
Mhm.
They've agreed. They've spoken as a couple.
Mm.
What do you say to them? I like how you have a smile on your face when
It's
you
so
when I say
beautiful.
this.
It is so beautiful.
Yeah.
As Tshepho first, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Take that leap. But as a lawyer, plan.
Uh,
Like invest that little, scrape together money.
yeah.
Invest.
Is it an expensive consultation? The first and most important one.
The first and most consultation
Yeah.
will definitely be. So what we usually do is that we give a package
Yes.
where you consult
Uh-huh.
and we draft for you and we register for
So
you.
you draft the marriage contract.
The marriage contract
Yeah.
after the consultation.
The consultation is this is what we're thinking.
Yes.
And then you say these are the pros and cons.
These are the options that
Yeah.
are available to you.
Okay.
These are the pros and cons of what you want to do.
Mhm.
Go home and think about it. It's not
Yeah.
we're not in a hurry.
Mm-mm.
You can't be in a hurry because it's going to be the rest of your life.
True.
So that's exactly what we do. That first consultation, the most important one,
Yeah.
because you even get to meet the client to try figure out where are they. Are they thinking long term? Are they thinking business wise? Are
Or
they
they're
trying
just
to,
excited.
or they're just excited? Are you thinking to protect your assets from each other, or are you trying to build a legacy, like that legacy plan? So all of those things, very, very important. So that initial consultation, I would say it's the most important
Yeah. Money you would have spent. Yeah, true.
to get to where do you want to be and what end to envisage.
True.
Because when you start with the end in mind, death or divorce, you've sorted everything
Easy.
out.
Yeah.
Because then we know that, okay, these are the measures that we need to put in place to make sure that X and Y, if it happens, we are sorted. So very, very important.
Yeah.
We do that. So we usually do that where we give you that initial consultation and then we draft your papers for you.
Yeah.
We register them for you. And then when after the registration process, you'll go away with your contract. We'll keep a copy. But otherwise, some people just want to know. So just want to know, like, what must I do? Where should I go? Where should I start? This is what I'm thinking. Is what I'm thinking correct?
Yeah.
And we'll have all that conversation, legally speaking, because we can have it now.
Yeah, we'll chat. But there's it sounds more to me like you are a marriage lawyer than a divorce lawyer. because it's
I like that.
Yeah, because if you were to solve things beforehand,
yes,
the rest, that other side, it's easier.
It's seamless.
Yes.
It's seamless.
Oh, like,
and that's
no,
exactly.
Let's pull out the contract. You remember? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Very easy. And even like it, you don't even have that fight.
No.
Because you remember, like, hey, Ghana, I did that in the beginning. We decided and we agreed,
Yeah.
So that fighting power,
it's not there.
It's not there. Even if it's there, it will subside. It will be fine.
Yes.
But yeah.
How much holidays to Dubai is lifestyle?
Again,
it's the
duration
lifestyle
of the marriage.
Okay.
Ne? So we've been married for 20 years. And in those 20 years, we've gone to Dubai or we've gone overseas.
Yes.
Every year.
H.
You've created a lifestyle.
Yeah.
We've been married for 2 years and we went on holiday once.
Not lifestyle.
Or overseas once.
Not lifestyle.
How are you going to prove a pattern when you see the duration of the marriage does not help you in any way?
Yes, okay. All right.
So always the longer the marriage,
and the more repetitive
yes,
is
the
this
pattern.
thing, the pattern.
The pattern created, like how you were living, how were we interacting in a month, where were you? Are you going on business trips? If you're going on business trips, is the family going with you?
Yeah.
Um all of those things. It's always that pattern that is created, because when we are in the loving relationship, we are not worried about the pattern.
No, we're just
Because
doing.
we are doing it because we're really there. So even at the end, when we look at all of those things, you really can see a pattern. And when things were just being done haphazardly, it shows. It shows.
We have done it collectively.
Mm-hmm.
We contributed to the trip to Dubai
Yes.
collectively.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't create the pattern. We created the pattern.
Okay.
And now that we are separating, you have more money than me, and I want you to maintain my lifestyle.
Remember again, David, the duty to support is there. That's clear.
Okay.
Now, what is needed in terms of maintenance, we are saying that you need it. You need the overseas trip.
I say I do.
Now, you are saying that you can't afford the overseas trip. I can.
Yeah. I
Now,
can't afford them on my own.
On your own.
Or let me just simply, I can't afford them.
Now, if you are saying that this was a joint effort, if we pull away, what's going to make me afford?
No, because your life has gotten better after the divorce.
But you see, the spousal maintenance is not even about the after.
It's before.
It's about the before, the during.
But back, I want to go to Dubai. We used to go, baby.
We used to go, baby, but you were pulling out money and I was pulling out money. That's how we were able to go. So now I must be bound by this.
You must pay me.
Even though you are not.
So you're saying no, it can't happen.
It can't happen if
it was
if it was joint.
You brought in $50. I brought in $50.
I brought $50
and then
bucks, and then we went.
Yeah.
So that's how we were able to
pull it off.
To pull it off.
Yeah.
So if we're apart, my 50 rand can't take me to Dubai. Your 50 rand can't take you to Dubai.
No.
So why do you want to go to Dubai?
And if you
who can afford to take you to Dubai now?
Nobody. Unless I get another one.
Unless you get another one, la khomareja 50-50.
And then we go
Dubai
to Dubai. You are maintaining me.
Mm-hmm.
I got I made a claim and it was successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a boy, you pay me and I'm living a good life.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a boyfriend or girlfriend. And so this maintenance, it's obvious. It's not just for me. I'm in Dubai now. But my pictures, they're showing me and and you realize that money that that was used to take me to Dubai is not taking me and my guy. Oh my God. And surely this angers you. Can you say, whoa, caught, I'm being taken advantage of?
We go back to those first things we spoke about. How old are you?
No, I'm an adult. I'm married. I'm 35. I'm 40.
You are 40.
Yes.
So in those instances again, you are working.
Yeah, but note, I paid a claim and the court said,
that's fine.
Great, you'll get 50,000.
In those instances, you'd find that maintenance order, or that spousal maintenance order, was made for a periodic period.
Because I can still earn my own income.
Because you can still earn your own income.
Okay.
Your earning capacity is still there. So if you are saying that you still need spousal maintenance and you're able to prove what you need to say that this person has that duty to support me and I'm unable to meet my needs because of what was created, then for a specified time, I am obliged to pay you maintenance.
Yeah.
Now, if I see that your circumstances have changed, I
They've
can go to
improved
court
and say,
oh, this person doesn't need my support. Go Dubai.
They're living well.
They're living well.
Okay.
So you need to vary that order.
Or I maintain my poverty.
Or you maintain your poverty.
And so you don't, I don't show it.
Well,
I don't
show it. Yeah, do
post.
that. Keep that money in your pocket. Poster high fedil.
Yes.
Like,
bet you there's a situation like that. Where it's
And the
like,
truth is stranger than fiction, ne David. I bet if I had to go through
you'll
the
find.
case law, I'll tell you, I'm like, I saw your case scenario. This is what happened.
This is what happened here. Because it, as unfounded as it seems, there's a chance that it happened.
That's true. That's true.
Another one, I am married. We are married. We divorce. And you're maintaining me. Actually, no, it's not a scenario. This questions the amounts. When a woman or man wants 100,000 rands a month, and they say it's for this, and the other, whatever they are, and you say, but a normal person doesn't live. I know it. I know you. I almost can hear your answer. I promise you I can, because we've been talking long enough for me to know what you're going to say. A normal person would not need 100,000 rands a month. It just doesn't make sense. And they say the kids is 40,000. It's like never. They say for me it's 60,000 and I do this and that and that. I've seen that. I promise you, I saw it in some story. It was a famous person.
Yes.
And the money was just didn't make sense. Didn't look like normal life. Let me let you answer. How do some of these amounts get that ridiculous? Because it doesn't look normal.
So remember we first started by saying what's normal
To me.
might not be normal for another person.
Yeah.
So how much are the school fees of those children?
I've paid them. I am handling them separately.
Okay. So again, it's all about what are the maintenance requirements,
And
the
lifestyle.
reasonable
Okay,
maintenance requirements of the child and yourself,
Yeah.
and what was the lifestyle that was created during the subsistence of the marriage
For the child and the wife.
for the child and the wife. Remember now, for the child, we are saying that it's automatic because they must be maintained. For you as a spouse, you must prove that
you need to be maintained.
Yeah. For X and Y reasons. Ne? Either you are not able, your earning capacities, all of those things,
Yeah.
you need to prove them. Now, if you are unable to prove them, or you put a claim in for 60,000 rand, remember the defendant, the husband or the wife that has to defend such a claim. If you want to defend it, you've got all the rights for them to prove. Ask them to prove, how did you come to that
60K,
amount?
yes.
How did you come there? What have you factored in? Is it housing? Okay, I've paid for the school fees. I've paid for the house. You're no longer paying for a bond. You're no longer paying for this. I've paid for the cars. You're not paying for any of the cars.
Yes.
You're just now probably needing petrol to get around. I'll keep on paying for the insurance or whatever it is.
Yes.
Or prove your claim.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you claim.
Prove
It really doesn't matter. Because if those are reasonable and they are what is required, the maintenance requirements, and you are able to prove them, and the other party is unable to disprove, one, that there is a need such as that, or two, that they are unreasonable, or even three, that that he can't afford. Those are the defenses that he can put to that. But you have to engage.
It's not automatic.
It's not
obviously.
automatic.
Yeah.
Just because you have put 60,000 rand does not mean that it's automatic.
There's something you say, reasonable.
Yeah.
Again, it's relative.
Reasonable according to that family.
Yes.
Yes.
And what's reasonable to you is different from me.
Indeed so.
And nails and nail spas and massage reasonable. According to that family, it may be.
According to that family, maybe.
That I go to a spa
Because
every week.
historically,
That's what I
you've
used to
been
do.
maintaining, been giving me money so that I can do my nails, my hair, buy shoes, go shopping, all of that. So you've created that lifestyle.
Yeah.
We have created that lifestyle for our family. So that's the standard of living that we have in our household.
Advise. Create no lifestyle. No lifestyle must be created. Or create a cheap lifestyle.
Yeah. Maybe create a cheap lifestyle.
Create a cheap lifestyle because you can't avoid creating a lifestyle.
You can't avoid creating a lifestyle. But also, Lorna, David, I think it's everything involved, because the type of schools that we take our kids to expose them to certain things.
That's true.
So you'd find that you're going to a saint, and there holidays are a norm.
Yeah.
So even you having a vacation home is because you see, the other kids, their parents, they've got vacation homes, they are frequenting, they're doing sleepovers, holidays, they are exchanging, they're going from one holiday home to the other, so it's the lifestyle that is created around that. So it's not that created cheap, but sometimes you can't get away from
You
it
can run-
only
yes.
because of the environment that you've put your kids in.
And also the I guess the social standing that you've created around your life.
Exactly.
Now you live here.
Yes,
And this is what happens here.
This is what happens here. We go on holidays. Once a year we go on international trips with our friends, So that's a standard that you create.
Sure.
Now, imagine yanking your kids out of that.
So next time we read a newspaper article and the wife wants 100,000 rands a month,
People think things are ridiculous.
we must just
But it's
accept
ridiculous for you. How's Nachale down now?
it. That's it.
That's it. I've come to accept.
That's
No,
it.
yeah,
Because
no.
you've seen
I've seen-
settlements.
and you're like, and they actually do accept. I'm like, oh,
the husband says, okay.
okay, because he understands. He knows, like he's
Or
not
the
trying,
wife.
or
I
even
guess
the
we
wife.
can't
Like
say,
he's like,
yes,
they know
this is what's needed.
this is what is needed.
But be aware also, this is me now having listened to you.
Mhm.
If you divorce young, it's not guaranteed that you'll be maintained for the rest
No,
of
no,
your
no.
life.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely
Because you
not.
can still look after yourself.
You can still look after yourself. More so when you are educated,
Yeah.
Yes, they'll give you, sometimes they'll say maybe you need about 3 years to get on your feet, to start your journey and all of that. But again, even in those 3 years, so imagine I now get married and then I get divorced maybe in my 40s or something. And when I get divorced in my 40s, I've stopped working.
Yes.
So
during the marriage, you had
During
stopped
the marriage,
working,
I'd stopped working.
Yeah.
So now, me trying to get back to the place that I was before the marriage will take me some time.
That's true.
So the minute I start doing all of those things and I start maybe getting a job, working here and there and whatever, my husband can still come and say, please vary the order. She's now
She's better.
self-supporting.
Yes.
Might not be to cancel it altogether, but might be to reduce it. Maintenance is like that. And people maybe must understand that you can increase and decrease the maintenance amount as you go.
Yeah.
So you're not locked into a
That
60,000.
Yes.
If baby girl or the wife starts making money and she's now able to cover, then that maintenance can go down from 60 to 10,000 rand, because now she's earning 50,000 rand and just needs that extra 10,000 rand just to maintain that.
And Leona, it's not forever.
Lorna, it's not forever.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you, Lord, for that.
It's not forever. Unless if you are 55 or 65 and now you have to take care of me until you die. Even though when you die, I'll have a claim against your estate for maintenance.
Wow. Okay. So divorce young. If you're going to divorce young.
Don't divorce.
Everything ends. We said it. We agreed. Everything ends.
But it doesn't have to end in divorce.
It doesn't have to end in divorce. You're right. Yeah, you're so right. Wow, this has been so educational. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Singanga.
Singanga.
Singanga blind. Odese.
Boss, sorry, boss.
Odese. Odese. Thank you very much. I hope you
you so
enjoyed
much.
that. I
Thank
hope
you so
everybody
much.
enjoyed it. Tshepho Mojapelo. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tisa.
King David Studio Podcast.